and access to justice. We call it Justice Thursdays. Today, we are going to talk about the Environment and Land Court and how the judiciary has been working with this court to ensure that there is access to justice on matters of environment and land. The Honorable Justice Lucy Mbogwa is from this court, and she's the head of the Land Division. Good morning, Your Ladyship.
Good morning.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. That's the hot seat of the Situation Room.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, how does it feel now not being on the bench?
It feels okay.
You're not in the dock, though.
Yes, I'm not in the dock. Yes.
It's a lovely place to be.
That is true.
Karibu sana. Well, tell us about the court and what you've been doing. We know that you recently, last year, you commemorated 10 years as a court, when the court was elevated to a superior court by the Constitution, and what you've done so far and the work that you've been doing. But to welcome you to the conversation, C.T. Muga has the day's proverb. Every week he brings us proverbs from a different country. This week?
Yes, our proverbs for this week are from the Federal Republic of Somalia. I mean, we refer to it as Somalia with a great familiarity. Federal Republic, whose capital is Mogadishu.
Right.
The proverb of the day is an interesting one. Justice, we will want you to tell us what you think of it and your interpretation. It's a fairly simple proverb. Women look for a lost camel in their bosom.
Women look for
A lost camel in their bosom.
what could that be?
You first reference the proverb to the country it's coming from. If you come from a community where there are no camels, this would not make any sense, because you don't understand what they're talking about.
I'm from the mountains.
Yes. Now, why would someone look for a camel? Because they can't find it. And
What is the size of a camel?
it's a massive animal.
It's a very massive animal.
Yes, very irregularly built. Okay. It's actually a very interesting. If you look at a camel and the way it's built, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
So why is it that someone would look for a camel in their bosom? And that's why this is a proverb.
You tell me.
Justice, what you've said to me warms my heart. I'd like a situation where when I come to your court, you tell me what you think.
like.
What you like.
That is true. That is true.
And I will immediately tell you what I would like.
Yes.
Think of a situation where something as big and as difficult to lose as a camel gets lost. I think the writers of this proverb were referring to someone will look for this camel even in the most unlikely of places.
That is so true. Yes.
Because this is something valuable. And also says that women will go into details that men would ordinarily not go into.
Not go there.
Yes.
That is true.
That is my thinking.
Yes.
Atakutafutia kesi.
Yes.
Mpaka mahali hakuna kesi.
Very true.
Okay. So,
You agree?
Make sense?
That makes sense.
Thank you.
That makes sense. Yes.
Judge, welcome.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Now, the Environment and Land Court is a superior court.
Yes.
First of all, for those who are joining the conversation for the first time and they've never heard of this before, tell us about it. What do you do, and what does it mean when we say that it's a superior court?
This court was established after the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution. And it was because of a desperate need. Kenyans wanted a specialized court to handle the land matters. The issue of environment was not so prominent that time because the problem of land matters was deep. Historical background is that there was a tribunal which used to handle land matters there before, the Land Disputes Tribunal. For one reason or another, there were also issues of the statutes, which were Kenya's. I can say that the statutes sort of had a problem. For instance, the main Registration Act, that is Cap 300, the Registered Land Act, had a provision that a first registration was sacrosanct. it was very difficult to challenge such a title. So generally, everyone wanted that title, that piece of land with a title, and they would go to any lengths to have it. But the land matters were mixed with other matters, criminal matters, election matters, procurement matters, children's matters. So they were not given the attention they deserved. And by the time we were having the constitution, the 2010 Kenyan constitution, that need was felt. And so the old laws were repealed, new laws came about, and with that, the Environment and Land Court Act was also born. And this is the one which gave birth to the specialized court, that is the Environment and Land Court, which came about in year 2011. But the judges, the first judges were appointed in October, year 2012. There were only 15. So the issue that they were grappling with at that time was the issue of backlog. And it was big because the cases were very many, very few judges. But the expectation of Kenyans is that these cases will be handled now by the specialized court. So at that point, the primary concern was for the land matters to be handled expeditiously. Although the court was the Environment and Land Court, the disputes that were given attention at that time were the land matters. So as years went by and the courts were able to resolve many of these cases, the need to have now the specialized division for land and a specialized division for environment came about. So we have been working on this in the background until this year, when eventually the divisions took off on 1st of July this year, such that now cases being filed specifically have to be filed as either land matters or environment matters.
Okay.
If they are filed as environment matters, they'll be registered separately, they will be handled separately, they'll be fast-tracked separately. The same case to land matters. They'll now be filed separately. No one will be queuing after another in a mixed manner. Each one will be on their own. So the dedicated division will be able now to handle the land matters without thinking of environment matters. Yes.
Okay.
Does that mean, sorry, Ndu, does that mean that the judges will also be dealing, so if it's in the land division,
Yes.
you only have specific judges who are in the land division, and you also have specific judges in the environment division?
The division is operational in the entire country, such that in each court station, environment and land court, there will be the e-filing system or the filing system or the registration of matters will specifically refer to a land matter or an environment and planning matter in each and every court station, be it Kisumu, be it Kerugoya, wherever. But now for Nairobi, because the Nairobi, we are many, we are 8 judges, we have been able now to divide ourselves into judges who will be in the land division and the ones who will be in the environment and land division, such that for us in Milimani, we shall not be crossing over.
Okay.
You'll just be dedicated to handle those matters. But because of the shortage of judges in the other stations, although those divisions will be there, the cases will be registered separately, the judges will handle the matters together. For instance, in many of our court stations, which are 37, we have one judge in a court station. So that judge will be able to handle both the land matters and environment matters, but they'll be able to track. They can see how many cases have been filed, how many cases have been resolved in each division.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I know you mentioned, land cases were lumped up with every other case, criminal cases, etc., etc. So that was why then there was the need to separate them from anyone else. Was there anything else that then required a further specialization of this court to say that? What else were the reasons that guided, aside from it being lumped with everything else? Was there a trend, or were there, specificities that you saw about land cases that could not, that the courts or that the system saw about these land cases that could not actually be adjudicated in a normal court?
What happened is that before the inauguration of the 2010 Constitution, there was a tribunal called the Land Disputes Tribunal Act. It used to handle disputes concerning occupation of land, trespass to land, division of land, generally that. But what happened is that the tribunals would go ahead and deal with title to land, which was not in their jurisdiction. So for decades, that issue caused a lot of problem, because they would deal with, and in many areas of the country, people have titles.
Yeah.
So when you encroach on my land, it's not just about occupation. It's about my rights, my absolute rights to that portion of land. So what would happen is that after the disputes were heard by the tribunals, that would not be the end. That would spill over eventually to the High Court as judicial review matters, as fresh matters. So sort of these cases did not have a finality. They kept on mutating, they would resurrect, and they would have no end. So people were just going round and round, and by the time of the year 2010, now it was like a crisis, because cases were there for cases which are 30 years old, 20 years old, and there is no proper forum where you can now litigate your issues, your land disputes. So that was the background upon which that court came to be born.
Okay. Do you see then the overlap?
Yes.
Even in this specialized court, do you see an overlap of cases of criminality? And then you have to deal with that. So you're dealing with a land dispute, but then you're also dealing with issues of criminality. Do you refer that to another court if the overlap happens, or is that all handled within these courts?
No.
Okay.
That one, there's no problem at all. The Environment and Land Court does not deal with criminal matters.
Even if it is a land dispute?
What happens is that land matters, somehow they are connected with criminal cases, especially where there are conflicts of great magnitude, where there are assaults. They manifest themselves in form of grievance harm, even murder cases, especially where historical land injustices have been prevalent. But now a criminal case will go to the magistrate's court, and it will be dealt there, while the portion of the land issue will come to the land court.
In the same case?
It's connected. It's the same case. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting that they would split them.
Yes. They are split.
Okay.
Yes.
Given the number of courts that we have dealing with this very sensitive matter, from the discussion we had with Justice Angote, your courts are overwhelmed.
That is true.
And he also told us how it is you are doing everything that is humanly possible to ensure that these matters are resolved and that the backlog is eased tremendously.
Yes.
But even as you deal with all this, what would you say are the most common cases that come to your docket?
It depends on the region.
Yes.
If you go to coast, they have peculiar disputes of houses without land. Yes, they are owners of the land, but they are absent people.
Absentee landlords.
They disappeared, they went away, they are not around. So, and the people who are there, they have built, they have developments. So they are very peculiar disputes. If you come to Nairobi, we have even cases of informal settlements,
Right.
where people have invaded land which is owned privately, and the disputes incidentally concern an invader against an invader, not the rightful owner. Two invaders before you.
Right.
And the actual owner of the land is not in the matter, they are not in the picture. So that is very, very peculiar. If you go to some other regions where there are no titles, there are very deep disputes concerning adjudication process. They are still trying to determine the rights and interest in land in the customary setup, yet we no longer have that customary setup in those areas because you know your land, you know your individual land, but you don't have the paper trail as at now. So adjudication process is still taking place. We have now other places where it's land buying companies. Land buying companies bought a lot of land like Ebakasi Ranching, Boyi Committee, and such ranching companies.
Yeah.
So they divided the land, but they never, the rights and interests never transitioned completely to the rightful owners. So other officials come and you know what happens. So these disputes sort of do not end. So at any given place, they are peculiar kind of disputes. Other places, it's issues of conversion of land from one titling system to another titling system. For instance, the conversion from an act, a statute called the Registered Titles Act to Registered Land Act. Registration of Titles Act to Registered Land Act. So that conversion from one regime to another, your rights and interests somehow can disappear.
Explain that. What are those two acts? What are those two regimes?
There's a regime of registration called RTA. That is the Registration of Titles Act, Cap 281. All of them are repealed. And the other famous one was Cap 300, the Registered Land Act. So for one reason or another, in some areas there could be conversion of land from that RTA to RLA.
But both are repealed. Why are you converting from one?
You know, we are handling disputes of yesteryears, not now. So we are unraveling how that transfer happened.
Okay.
So the disputes now are with us. They have not yet been resolved. So even if those statutes were repealed, the disputes remained. They have to be resolved.
And so what statutes do you use when you are addressing these disputes?
We have to address all of them. We have to use all these statutes because when the dispute arose or when the event arose, the statute that was operational at that time is that one which was repealed. It's not the Land Registration Act. That one now is the main statute governing registration of land. But what happens is that now if you hold a title under the former Cap 300 or the former Cap 281, you are supposed to take it to the land registry so that now it is registered under the new regime, the Land Registration Act.
What was the difference between those two previous ones? The Registration of Titles Act and the Registration of Land Act. What was the difference?
The difference is that for the RTA Cap 281, it was primarily in town, in cities, like Nairobi.
In urban areas.
Yeah, urban areas. Though it's a huge, maybe even you own those titles. It's a huge document. It even has a ribbon somewhere.
Yes, it does. Those ones.
And there are leases, mostly leaseholds of 99 years.
And there's all this documentation of who, what, when.
And the transfer is captured there at the back. If I sell to you, it will be captured. Now the transfer there at the back. But for Cap 300, the Registered Land Act, this one was the absolute the absolute title.
Freehold.
The freehold, mostly in agricultural areas, but you can still find them even in some places in town. Some places in town were still converted. This one was the most precious one because it's absolute. It's completely freehold.
About paying.
Yes, you don't pay things to the government.
Yeah.
It's yours absolute. Yes.
So the conversion here, then I'd assume, would happen from the RLA to RTA.
From RTA. It was
people converting from this commercial leasehold to freehold.
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
Wanting to become
you know now
unencumbered.
the Cap 300 is it was more precious because it has no encumbrances. Yes.
Land disputes take time to adjudicate.
Yes.
Why?
I would say one, it's because of the complex nature of those cases. They are not just the simple cases that you can handle. And also land is very emotive and very precious. So everyone wants that piece of land through any means, including fraud. So even people who are not entitled to a piece of land, they still want that piece of land through any means. So when they come to court, they'll try as much as possible to convolute the dispute so that eventually they get that land. Also, I would say even the politics of the day would play a role because where you had somebody who was, somebody famous, perhaps in the government, they would ensure that these issues are fast-tracked, the issues of titling, and people would get titles. But where people are laid back, or they were not, their presence was not so felt in the regime of the day, they were left behind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something that always puzzles me. Are we going on to a break?
Break time.
All right. I'll ask the question after the break.
Okay. It's 29 minutes to 8 on this Justice Thursday. We are hosting the Honorable Justice Lucy Mbogwa. She is the head of the Land Division of the Environment and Land Court. She's just told us that now what they've done with the court is they've decided to create the two divisions. From the 1st of July, the two divisions are now in operation. It's a Land Division and the Environment Division of the Environment and Land Court. Still the same court, but this is now filing in separate registries for better management. We are talking about what the court has been doing to adjudicate land matters and how they are ensuring there is greater access to justice on matters land. It's holiday time, Ndu.
Yes, it is. Dear parents, guardians, and children alike, it's a public announcement calling on all children who've closed school for the August holidays. DSTV is calling upon you to never stop thinking and imagining. You're cordially invited to our wonder-filled world packed with great children's content and from Africa and across the world. Don't waste your kids' August holiday. Get connected to DSTV today and watch your kids expand their horizons with content that will inspire them to be more adventurous and fun people. It's all on DSTV. Dial *423# or download my DSTV app to get a DSTV decoder with 1 month of family for just 2,999 shillings.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
When you're impeached, you're impeached. When you're sentenced, you're sentenced.
Madam Chief Justice.
Until the sentence is set aside.
Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
All right.
Oh, okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No.
Since I'm not shipping up.
You know my business partner here.
Shipping out.
Are we talking about the sheep in the bathtub? Or
Or the sheep man.
Emmanuel Talabu used to tell us a story of they were in school and they've been told to write composition about a sheep. His classmate raised a hand. Teacher, are you talking about a sheep or a sheep goat?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
cloudy at 13 in Nairobi, highs of 18 and lows of 12. It's sunny at 15 in Nakuru. highs of 23 and lows of 14. Nyeri sunny at 13, highs of 18 and lows of 13. And Eldoret will see highs of 21 and lows of 13, where it's mostly cloudy at 15. It's cloudy at 24 in Mombasa, highs of 26 and lows of 23. And we'll see lows of 24 in a mostly sunny Malindi at 25. Kisumu is cloudy at 19, highs of 27, and 25 will be the high in a mostly cloudy Kakamega at 17. Kampala cloudy at 19, highs of 25 and lows of 18, and Dar es Salaam will see highs of 29 and lows of 22. It's 3 degrees and mostly cloudy in Johannesburg, highs of 15 and lows of 2, while we'll see lows of 24 in Lagos. It's cloudy at 25, highs of 32 in a mostly clear Kinshasa at 20. All right, Wayakiwe, really busy this morning. There's traffic coming in from all kinds of directions. Westlands coming in from Kangemi down through past the expressway and then out to what was the Westlands roundabout. A little bit of traffic coming off James Gishuru. And the Thika Superhighway is also pretty busy this morning. We're looking at traffic well beyond the Outer Ring Junction, heading out towards the CBD. So you split, you go towards Moranga Road or you go towards Wangari Maathai Way. Choose your poison, because everywhere you look this morning, there is traffic. And also on Kiambu Road, it's piling up as you get closer towards Muthaiga Square. The CBD is where you'll see most of it. Outer Ring is busy. Manyanja, Kangundo and Juja Road are feeding in and onto this. Langata Road also starting to look busy now. Raila Odinga Way will take off some of that traffic. It'll also meet with what's coming off of Ngong Road this morning. We are in traffic hour as of now, proper. Let's know what happens in a short while where you are. Let's look and see how that opens up later. And let's talk on Spice FM, KE on Twitter.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Honorable Lady Justice Lucy Mbogwa, head of the Land Division of the Environment and Land Court.
No, in the recent past, there's a matter that has been in the headlines for a long time. This one of Shakahola.
Yes.
And some of the headlines that we in the media have written, I thought I understood until we had an MP from that area talking to us yesterday about that same land. The headlines that I saw were government land. That Shakahola was in government land. And then the Member of Parliament for Kilifi North, Shakahola is not in his constituency, Shakahola is in Magarini, said, but it is community land. Now, this is where the confusion comes in my mind.
Yes.
At what point is community land, and what does community land mean? When people say this is community land, what do they mean? And when you say this is government land, what do you mean?
Yes.
Yes.
So community land and public government land is defined in the Constitution of Kenya. Community land is that land which belongs to a particular community, and the community is defined by the particular something that they have in common, like ancestry, and they occupy a particular portion of land for decades, ages. So, but now the problem is that sometimes it's not well demarcated. Sometimes it's not clear when you say community. Which community? Sometimes there is overlapping of clans, and because of that, sometimes people take advantage of that lacuna, that vacuum, and they can infringe on community land rights. So that is why community land is like open access. Anyone can walk in and claim that land. So that is the thing with community land. But in an ideal situation, a community is supposed to be the owner and in control of that particular portion of land. But currently, community land is supposed to be registered That registration process has taken long. There's a Community Land Act which came about in 2016, I think 2016. But the process of registering those community lands have been very, very slow. For reasons I do not know.
What's the place of the National Land Commission in all this?
The National Land Commission was supposed to be at the forefront of ensuring that those community lands were registered. Very few. I think I've only had 2, but I'm not sure about the actual number.
The actual progress.
Yes, the actual progress.
Like you've said,
yes.
The Constitution defines the different types of land.
Yes.
Chapter 5, Land and Environment.
Yes.
Land is categorized as public land, private land,
and
community land.
Community land, yes.
So for avoidance of doubts, there is nothing like government land.
Public land is government land. There is public land.
Explain.
This is land which has not been alienated. Land which has not been claimed by community, land which does not belong to a private person. That land belongs to the government. So it is what we call public land. And the title is supposed to be with the government. And it is all over, even in towns, in the villages, that land is there. But it's supposed to be properly demarcated because it's prone to grabbing.
Yep.
In fact, over the ages, that was the main problem. That any land which was open, just there, looking open, it's as if it was something wrong to have land which is just lying there. And it was prone to being grabbed.
Basically, it's like land belongs to the people of Kenya, right?
Yes.
And when we say there is public land,
yes,
it is supposed to be managed or governed by the county government on behalf of the people.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I've even seen that there is what can now be managed by the national government.
Yes.
Talk about minerals.
Yes.
Our Okoh chini kabisa, tectonic plates,
the
our
sea,
oceans and seas,
exclusive economic zones,
forests and such.
Yes.
Those ones are the national government.
Yes.
But these are the county government should manage.
Yes.
Now let me ask the question.
Yes.
There is, for example, now an ongoing program by the government, both national and county, to develop affordable housing.
Yes.
And counties are identifying land in various parts of within the county where houses will be built and then people will buy those houses.
Yes.
When people buy those houses from the public, what are we doing? Are we transferring public land now to become private land?
A land can be alienated from it. The conversion can occur from public land to private land, even from community to private land, and vice versa, depending on the needs of the society at any given time. So that is why even from early ages, we used to have something called allotments. That is how many people acquired their plots in towns through allotments. That was conversion from public land to private land. So it doesn't mean that the process has stopped. It's only that now it's more transparent, more structured. It has an element of public participation. No, long time, you don't know how the allotment occurred. Somebody just got the allotment and they got a piece of land. But now there is that notion of public participation, openness, transparency, inclusiveness. That is why there is now interaction between the county government and the national government. Otherwise, it doesn't mean that the public land cannot be transferred to private citizens.
Can I just run ahead and see a matter that's being brought to your division?
Yes.
Where somebody says that MP so-and-so or county so-and-so decided to earmark this area for affordable housing, which basically means that we've transferred ownership of this land to private individuals who've bought the houses here.
Yes.
But there was no adequate procedure followed. Like you've said, there has to be a proper process of actually converting this.
Yes.
And this is in involves public participation.
Yes.
So we are saying that there should be proper public participation.
Yes.
By the time County X says this piece of land will be earmarked for this affordable housing project,
Yes.
there should be records in the county assembly showing
A proper documentation process, something that can be traced, something real, not just imaginary where some notices are sent in some places where they cannot be seen. People have to actually know that this process is taking place. Yes.
Okay. I want to look at some scenarios where some of these cases that take time, based on what you've said, have been in court, land dispute for years, decades.
Yes.
And the principal in this matter is deceased.
Yes.
The children of the principal are getting well aged, but the case continues in court for whatever reason. What happens in the case where anybody contesting this dispute then ceases to exist by virtue of death?
What happens is that a process known as substitution takes place. So somebody has to go to another court, not the Environment and Land Court, but the High Court or the Magistrates Court, to get the document called the grant, the limited grant of letters of administration that enables them to step in the shoes of the deceased person as the legal representatives of that person. It will even be indicated in those letters of administration that the grant is for purposes of continuing with case number 123 of year 2005. So they step in the shoes of the deceased person. When they are litigating, when they get that document, they make an application before a court now to be substituted. We scrutinize that grant and we confirm indeed it has emanated from that other court, and they are now substituted. They will continue with the case as representatives of the deceased person, not as now the person themselves, such that in the final orders, when the final orders are given and they are in favor of the deceased person, let's say it's a case of adverse possession, so that claimant actually claims to be an adverse possessor of the land. Those rights or the judgment will be in favor of the estate of the deceased, so that the one who steps in the shoes of that person is not the actual beneficiary. He was only representing the deceased person. So because there could be even several children of the deceased.
The firstborn son is the one who got the grant.
So if you give orders in favor of that particular person, that is an injustice in itself.
Right.
So the orders will be in favor of the estate
of the deceased.
So they go and do now something called distribution through succession proceedings.
Okay.
Yes.
Another prickly situation is this whole business of ancestral land.
Yes.
The unspoken things that, may not necessarily have documentation, but the community knows that this land belongs to the family of. The children, the grandchildren have an understanding that no, you do not touch this because this is land passed down to the children of men, generations. But somebody starts to hive off the land and starts to sell.
Yes.
Right? Which happens often. A lot of those cases then come in. How do you adjudicate over matters like this? It's ancestral land. It's unspoken, but it's understood and accepted by everybody. In some cases, it is undocumented, but it has passed through generations. And the unspoken rule is that you don't sell ancestral land, isn't it?
Yes.
But it's being sold.
Yes.
And other people then come and build, or they plant, or they farm. And then we say, this cannot happen because it's ancestral land. How do you deal with that?
What I can say is that the customary tenure system was very, very clear that you held land for the benefit of the community members. So the community members had what you call user rights. They can use the land, they have access to it. And this issue of using having the land for purposes of selling it or using it as collateral to get money from the bank, that was something something unknown in the customary tenure system. So with the coming of the colonial way of handling land matters and the registration statutes, land became very precious. It was not just about user rights. You can use the land as an economic commodity to get a loan from the bank, to sell it and all that. So people became, let me say, greedy. The people who are supposed to hold the land in trust for their family members, they became greedy. For instance, if as people are registered as the owners of the land, they are supposed to hold that land in trust for the other family members. But once they got that title, they used it as their own land. And the jurisprudence that was emanating from court those yesteryears was in favor of the registered owners of the land. So many people are diffranchised by the legal regime of the day, the political regime of the day, and that is why there are very many fights. Because you can't just let that issue go like that. But now jurisprudence has changed somehow, and we hold that if land is ancestral, then it has the notion of both intragenerational equity and intergenerational equity, meaning that you hold the land for the people who are living at this particular moment, and for the generations to come. They are supposed also to benefit.
Would you refund the individual who bought this land,
Yes.
whether it was ancestral or not,
Yes.
and they have put up a structure or they've begun something on this land, the court intervenes and says, no, we've said you must hold in trust
Yes.
because it's ancestral. Those who've brought the complaints
Yes.
then must be heard.
Yes.
But somebody else, party 3, has come in, they've bought, they've paid legally,
Yes,
they have
yes.
documentation. What happens?
It will depend on case-by-case basis. For instance, if now somebody has built on that land after purchasing it, as a bona fide purchaser, you can tell the people to mediate on the issue such that now the one who was defranchised, they can be compensated, but it depends on case-by-case basis, such that you don't have to be very rigid and say that now the person who was supposed to benefit on this land must get it. Yet now it is in the hands of another person altogether. So we use, yes.
What often happens is you'll find in such cases there's an individual member of that family who sold the land to that individual.
Yes.
So the question that I often wonder is, when you buy land, don't you do due diligence?
And the question of due diligence now is very, very, very important.
Yes.
The courts have said and have pronounced in no uncertain terms that you must do due diligence. So if you go to buy land and you can see that it is inhabited, you can see some people with their huts in, those cow pens in the homestead. Then you come to court and you say that I did a search, I found it was in the name of Eric, and that is why I bought it. The court will not buy that. The court will go deeper and inquire, yes, what kind of due diligence did you conduct? So how did you just go to the lands office and do a search? Did you go to the ground?
I did. And the person told me those are his people. And they are living.
How many houses did you see in that homestead? If the house, the place is owned by several people, you will see the houses, you will see the cow pens, you will see the way people divide their stretches of land. This one has planted coffee, the other one has their napier grass, and the land is actually divided as per each homestead. So how did you buy the whole land?
But Judge, when you talk about this ancestral land, I think just like you've said, ancestral land, pre-colonial, okay.
Yes.
Post-colonial, within the times of colonial, maybe.
Yes.
Nowadays,
Yes.
surely.
Yes.
If somebody is inheriting land
Yes.
from their father, that cannot necessarily be called ancestral land. Say today I bought a piece of land and I'm passing it on. Today, how many generations back do you have to go to actually qualify land as ancestral land?
We even have a very recent Supreme Court decision. It's called Isaac Kiebia case on that issue, which says that as long as you are able to prove that this is the family land, this is where your grandfather was buried, you know the Babu, you settle, you are on that land, although you have never owned a title relating to that land. You can be able to trace your roots to this land. Then you have rights that can be established in that land, such that you can prevent the other person from selling. I don't know how far we can go regarding this issue, because land goes diminishing. Sons keep on marrying, and their children will also get other children.
Babu subdivided the land. And actually allocated the land to his 5 sons.
Yes.
All right? One of those 5 sons is my father. Subdivided the land and sold some of it so that I can go to school. Right? Now, I cannot go and start kicking out the person who was sold that land because Babu is buried in this bigger piece of land. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This becomes a very dicey issue.
It doesn't mean that the land cannot be sold. What we are saying is that you cannot differentiate other people who are entitled to that land. If Babu divided the land between his 5 sons
verbally, only verbally, kutoka hapa mpaka pale kwa ile mti ni yako, na wewe kwenda hivi kwa mto ni yako, nothing went to the land's registry,
as is usually the case.
But now the succession has to be done so that now you divide the land properly. What you cannot do is now the one who is the one who has a title. Let's say, who has now the title? Is it your Babu? Or is it one of his sons?
Even Babu didn't have a title to this land. It was just, those lands. It ended up being.
Then that is land.
Remember, there are very many people who don't have titles.
Then that is land which we call land which has not been adjudicated. Meaning the rights and interests in that land have not been ascertained through the process of registration to transition from customary land tenure system to the individual tenure system. It's a very dicey situation, because even that land which has not been ascertained, people still sell it, people still grab it, people still use fraud, all sorts of things, bad things that happen to registered land still happen there. So that area is very, very, very murky, and the best thing is to have that land, that process of adjudication completed, so that people know their portion, their particular portion. So disputes still do arise, and it's up to the court to unravel the mystery. The mysteries are there, and they have to be unraveled by the courts.
Justice, you mentioned you want to, as a court, you want to be holding more and more engagements with the public. And you want them to get to understand your work more and more. My concern, even as we talk about it, is not the seller. That person probably needs money and whatever. It's the buyers. I still marvel. You go to a rural place, as you say correctly, you can see people live there. Someone tells you, I know it's we had our grandfather, but this was our portion. There is no documentation whatsoever, and somebody proceeds to buy and then proceeds to build. And I'm thinking, goodness, when other members of that family then come and look at that matter, you and your house, you can't take your house and take it somewhere else. It's a problem. Now, when you go about educating the public and getting them to know about your work, will you be going to rural areas as well, where some of these problems occur in abundance?
Our courts are spread in 37 court stations. So we are not just here in Nairobi. We are in almost every corner of Kenya. We are in Migori, we are even in Kilgoris, we are in Vihiga, we are in Kwale. So we are in all these places. And each court station will be doing its own thing in engaging the members of the public to bring awareness regarding how to expedite both the land matters and environmental matters. So it's not an issue about Milimani alone. It is spread across the entire Kenya.
It's good to know.
Yes.
And it's good to know that the court is available across the country and accessible.
Yes.
And justice is now being served and delivered.
Yes.
Justice, we thank you very much for joining us today.
Okay.
Karibu tena
Thank
soon.
you very much. Thank you very much, Eric and Ndu and Muga. Yes. Okay.
Karibu tena. The Honorable Justice Lucy Mbogwa, head of the Land Division of the Environment and Land Court, has been our guest this Justice Thursday. Keep it here for more conversations. It's 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Some very nice, mature music.
They really took me back to my days, and I can just feel young again and enjoy the vibes.
Spice.
I'm a big listener of Spice FM.
You play the best music.
This is 94.4 Spice FM.
Dennis Aseto. Mediation talks between the government and the opposition continue to face numerous hurdles. This coming after the bipartisan talks hit a dead end. Despite both sides selecting their members who will participate in the negotiations, hardline positions have been taken by both sides. Even before the start of the talks, Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah continues to accuse Azimio Leader Raila Odinga for revealing the name of the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, as the mediator, claiming that it is against the consensus and the agreement that he should not have been revealed. In addition, differences emerged on the issues to be discussed by both sides. Kenya Kwanza insists that the committee will discuss the creation of IEBC, the implementation of the 2/3 gender rule, the creation of the office of the leader of opposition, as well as that of the prime cabinet secretary. Azmi, on the other hand, insists on highlighting the high cost of living, reviewing the results of last year's general election, reconstituting the IEBC, holding accountable the police officers who killed protesters, and respecting the freedom of political parties. This, while President William Ruto refused to discuss the issue of mediation talks during a session with journalists yesterday, focusing his answers on issues related on food and the cost of living.
And your second question?
My second question, Your Excellency, is ahead of the anticipated talks between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio.
Please, let's not go there. So let's stick with the first question.
Members of Kenya Kwanza include Majority Leader Aaron Cheruiyot of the Senate, Embu Governor, and UDA Chairperson Cecily Mbarire, Member of Parliament for East Africa, that is Yala Hassan Omar, and Bungoma Woman Representative Catherine Wamblianga, while those of Azimio are led by Wiper Leader Kalonzo Musyoka, Leader of DAP-K Eugene Wamalwa, National Assembly Minority Leader Piondai, Malindi Member of Parliament Amina Mnyazi, as well as Nyamira Senator Okoh Omogeni. Now, Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Cabinet Secretary Alfred Mutua has urged Kenyans not to be used as guinea pigs in WorldCoin cryptocurrency project. While supporting the government's move to suspend WorldCoin's activities in Kenya, Mutua underscored the need for Kenyans to be wary of the individual data being collected. Many people rush to register with the company by having their eyes scanned for a promised amount of money. And PS Interior Ministry Raymond Omolo has called on all government units to cooperate in dealing with illegal trade in the border between Kenya and Uganda. Speaking in Sirisia, Omolo revealed that the government is losing a lot of money through illegal businesses that take place in the border areas through corruption.
Imagine 40% of all the challenges is on forged documents. Another 21% across those border points I've talked about are drug seizures. We must be able to facilitate trade and genuine trade at that, so that we don't lose revenue, because if 40% is on forged documents, then we could be talking about much higher figures than the 360.
Area Member of Parliament John Walukai has asked the OCS Luahaha police station to be transferred for allegedly being corrupt.
And I want to call a spade a spade. The OCS here should be transferred. He does Makendo. I've been here several times and he intimidates the junior officers. The Luahaha OCS should be transferred. And if he's transferred, I don't have any problem in Luahaha or in this sub-county. He came to look for money. His salary is not enough for him. So I'm requesting that the OCS should be transferred. And if possible, even today.
Police officers in Migori County, in collaboration with members of the public, arrested a house girl who was reportedly fleeing with the employer's 1-year-old toddler. Police said the suspect was left in the custody of the baby boy, whom she'd cared for 2 days within Sango Estate in Homa Bay County as her employer left for work. Suna East Sub-County OCPD Ben Kemboi said the nanny thereafter left the house with the toddler and was allegedly en route to Tanzania when she was arrested. Furtherfield and Senegal has suspended TikTok, saying the video sharing platform has been used to fund violence sparked by the detention of opposition figure Ousmane Sonko. Authorities had already cut mobile data access Monday, with several human rights groups denouncing the measure as well as the dissolution of Sonko's party. Unrest erupted after Sonko was charged Monday with fomenting insurrection, undermining state security, criminal association with a terrorist body, and other crimes. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
At a few minutes after 8 o'clock, we're looking at traffic in different parts of the city. As usual, it's busy on Jogo Road. That started early. My goodness, it's really busy on Jogo Road. Heavy traffic. It's bumper to bumper. We're also looking at it spilling over towards Landis, and it's heavy as well as you get towards the Kamkunji roundabout. The Thika Superhighway is no different. There's traffic then coming in through from Survey out towards the CBD by the Pangani underpass. It's looking better on Waiaki Way. That traffic that was coming in heavy from James Gishuru is whittling out, at least for now. And on Limuru Road and then into the city via Muthaiga Square, also then getting a little bit better. On Langata Road, that looks all right until you get to that junction at Uhuru Gardens. Then you're coming out towards the Nyeri Stadium roundabout, and it's heavy. We're also looking at heavy traffic on Raila Odinga Way. All of this happening at the same time. Still in traffic hour, a few minutes after 8 o'clock. Let's take a look in about half hour or so and see how that changes. In the meantime, talk to us about what's going on where you are on Spice FM KE on Twitter.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
7 minutes after 8. Good morning and welcome to the third hour of The Situation Room of this lovely Thursday morning. It's the third day of August. Soon we'll be saying it's the third day of December. Like that, and the year will be gone. Na mahali ulianzia mwaka ndio protocol kimalizia mwaka. Hivyo tu. Hivyo tu, just because you did not register to Boma Yangu. Star 832 hash. Star 832 hash. Or go to www.bomayangu.go.ke. How you started the year should not be how you end the year, or even how you end quarter 3 of this year. Make sure that by the end of quarter 3, you have registered to Boma Yangu and you've started saving towards home ownership. If you go to bomayangu.go.ke, you'll find the affordable housing projects that are ongoing and those that are completed, how much a house is going for from X amount of money. You can even go to those areas targets and actually visit these projects and see more about it. Now, if you start saving towards this, by the time you get to 10%, you'll be getting to eligibility criteria. Eligibility criteria.
Yes.
Eligibility for ownership of these homes. This is the only government affordable housing portal. bomayangu.go.ke. They don't need your iris. They don't need your fingerprint. They just need you to click register and put in your details. Hitherto, you get into owning a piece of land. Sindio?
Sindio.
Aye, and the children are on holiday?
They are on holiday, and DSTV is reminding you that everyone's favorite chipmunks, Alvin, Simon, and Theodore, are back with a fantastic new season of the classic animated series, Alvin and the Chipmunks. These chipmunk brothers are famous rock stars who tour around the world with their best friends, the Chipettes. CT, you're gonna love this. The new season starts today. Actually, it started, and it's on channel 305 on DSTV. Open your kids to this wonderful world on DSTV to get this and more world-class kids content, over 15 dedicated channels. Feel all the adventure and fun exclusively on DSTV. Dial *423# or download my DSTV app to get a DSTV decoder with 1 month of family for just 2,999 shillings.
Very good. Now, who's this on YouTube who's saying Eric unakaa kama DH captain or Alliance High? Because of the sweater. No, I did not go to Alliance. Just no. Hii sweater sitaivaa tena kama ni hivyo mnaanza kusema. Okay, now there's a company called Whistle Africa Tours and Events. Okay, its founder is our next guest in the studio, Jeremiah Nyanja, who is also the team leader at the Hell's Gate Biking Festival. Jeremiah, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for occupying the hot seat of the Situation Room this morning. Karibu sana. CT Muga has the day's proverb before you start telling us about biking at Hell's Gate in Naivasha.
Sure.
Our proverbs for the whole of this week, ending tomorrow, come from the Federal Republic of Somalia. Okay. This is the proverb. Women look for a lost camel in their bosom.
Women look for a lost camel in their bosom. Jeremiah, what do you think this proverb is saying?
Women look for things where they can't be found. My thinking.
Women look for things where they can't be found. Where things don't exist.
Yeah, because it's hard to find a camel, a lost camel.
Eric, it's rich.
Yeah, okay. It's what this guy is saying.
That's what it means. And you're looking for things where they cannot be found. It is where they don't exist.
All right.
It's a Somali proverb.
It's like looking for snow at Hell's Gate.
Sure.
Not possible.
Impossible.
Doesn't stop you from looking, though.
Yeah. You can keep looking. Let's first of all tell us about the Whistle Africa Tours and Events. What's that?
So, Whistle Africa Tours and Events is a company that deals in organizing tours for private and group travelers. Then we also deal in event management and event organizing.
Okay.
And that's how we came up with the Hell's Gate Biking Fest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about the Hell's Gate Biking Fest.
So Hell's Gate Biking Fest is the biggest cycling festival that is scheduled to happen on 19th and 20th of August at Hell's Gate National Park. I've said biggest because this is the first event of this kind, whereby we've incorporated families, we've incorporated professional riders, we've incorporated anyone who can ride and anyone who cannot ride to come together for the sustainability and for the environment awareness of Hell's Gate. That is focused towards the economic and the socio-economic sustainability of Hell's Gate and its environs.
By bike here, what do we mean?
By bike, we mean cycling. pedaling the cycle.
Bicycle.
Yeah, bicycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is the one that you have to pedal yourself, not
Yes.
those battery-powered bicycles.
We have battery-powered bicycles for people who don't want to sweat while they are riding. But we
Are those
mainly
allowed in
focus
this fest? Yes,
they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why biking and why Hell's Gate?
Number one, Hell's Gate is the most scenic park in the country. Then it's one of the parks that you can actually walk around the whole park and cycle around the whole park without having a worry of attack from animals. We have resident animals which make it actually even more engaging. We have giraffes, we have buffaloes, we have elards, and other resident animals. But at Hell's Gate, it's the only place where you'll find animals that don't actually charge to people. So the choice of Hell's Gate is because you can cycle from gate A to gate B to gate C and around the whole park without having the worry of attack from animals. Then it's also the most scenic parks, having been graced by towering rocks. I don't know whether either of you have been to Hell's Gate. It's beautiful with the star rocks and the cliffs that make it more scenic.
It's very scenic, but it has baboons.
Yeah, and
scenic, but it has baboons.
Baboons are some of the resident animals that make your engagement in Hell's Gate more interactive. And the baboons at Hell's Gate, I have to mention, they don't actually steal from. They don't
attack.
Yeah, they don't attack.
That was really my query.
That was it.
That was it, because the baboons themselves may be as calm as you claim, but the problem is, how do you prevent people who come to Hell's Gate from feeding baboons? Because when you feed them, then you get them into the habit of expecting food, and when you don't feed them, they will then take your food.
Yeah.
And they will even attack you in the process. And baboons can be fairly vicious. That is where I was going with the baboon statement. Yes.
So let's look at this bike festival. So what's the inspiration behind doing this and having this coming up this time?
The conversation behind cycling in Kenya is normally revolves around professional bikers. And you'll find recreational bikers just do it on their own. So the concept behind this event is to bring together recreational bikers and the professional bikers. Then remember, there are people who would love to cycle, but they don't know how to cycle. Or they have friends who cycle and they would love to see them race or just ride for fun. So it's an event that we've brought together everyone so that we can have a community of cycling that now involves anyone who's an enthusiast to the cycling community. Yeah.
Have you organized such kind of festivals in other areas, like biking events?
Yes, but for professionals and at Hell's Gate on small scale. However, this time we from the feedback that we've been getting from the previous events that we've done, we decided to go big and just do a national event that anyone can be part of. Yeah.
Hell's Gate is managed by KWS.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so there is controlled entry, controlled exit.
Yes.
And there are things that you're supposed to do you're not supposed to do when you're in Hell's Gate. There are, of course, those safety messages that you're given. For example, make sure that you don't walk in near the gorges at specific times of the year because flash floods and all. Now, how are you working with the managers of the park, KWS, in organizing this festival to ensure safety and ensure that you actually leave the environment better than you found it?
So actually, Kenya Wildlife Services are our primary partners in this event. There are a set of rules that you have to abide with while you are inside a park. So we are using our own security agencies and the security force, because remember, Kenya Life Services has their own security force and their conservers. So we're also using their own security personnel to ensure that this set of rules are actually followed. Nobody is feeding the animals, as you asked about feeding baboons. Nobody is going to the gorges, which are actually at the moment still closed. And we've also done an environment impact assessment to in conjunction with the Nakuru County and NEMA, which KWS will also have an input in to ensure that we don't interfere with the environment and we leave it better than we found it. Yes.
Who are the other partners? So KWS is a primary partner.
Is a primary
because
partner.
They're managing the park.
Yes.
Are you working with others, environmental partners and such?
At this moment, we're working with the Nakuru County for the environment department. Yes.
Okay. So obviously funds are being raised, right?
Yes.
Environment is front and center of this festival. What projects then will be supported as folks raise money from biking?
Our primary project that we are focusing with the event is refurbishment of a camping site. So there are several camping sites within Hell's Gate. Also, the goal for this event is also to raise Hell's Gate as the best biking and camping destination. So we want to refurbish one of the camping sites within the park to ensure that people who come to cycle don't leave the park in the evening to go and camp somewhere else in Naivasha. They do camp within the park. Yes.
Explain to me camping. What's the idea about camping? What is it that if one wanted to camp, what would you tell someone to attract them, to make them want to camp?
Camping is stylish in its own way.
Sounds like suffering though, but go ahead.
Not really. You can imagine
soft life.
Yeah.
City Muga, soft life, same was up.
But go on.
Yeah. So you can imagine camping outdoors in a park. Yes.
Yeah.
With
yes.
baboons. Yes.
Live around baboons, camping with giraffes
under the
giraffes.
night sky,
The stars
open
are twinkling.
skies, stars,
Yeah.
The moon in all her glory.
So
and then
camping,
seeing distant lights from up there, it's lovely.
Camping gives you the only experience that you can actually experience nature before, during, and after your sleep.
Oh.
Yes.
You're expected to sleep.
Yeah, you're expected to
Everything
sleep.
he has described guarantees I will not sleep.
Yeah. It's all fun. If you stay up all night, actually, and
Better
you are just
still.
stargazing, it's okay. You come with your telescope and make sure that you spend your night there now just looking at the stars and saying, okay, so what is this?
That's Orion.
All right, that's the one I studied. Oh, look at your book, take notes.
It's a one in a lifetime
That's
experience.
all fun.
Okay.
That's all fun.
Yeah.
What would you tell people who are like CT, who hear camping and they just see small tent, wind, baboons and other wild animals,
Snakes.
yeah, and those kind of things, snakes and such other
Leopards.
creepy crawlers? What do you tell such people?
The main idea behind camping is not actually the just sleeping in a tent with animals around you. It's the therapy that comes with camping. Because remember, you're used to sleeping in a bed in a house for like 363 days. Then it's this one day that you spend for all the years. Yeah. Then you have this one experience that you're now sleeping outside in a not very comfortable mattress. And you are outdoors in the wild. Yeah. Then you have all those sounds of the animals that you say.
Proximity to the sights and sounds.
Yeah.
Proximity to nature.
Then the sights are just amazing because actually with the projection with this event in August, you will see clear skies in Naivasha. So you can imagine staring at the skies before you sleep. You might even end up not sleeping. Then you are out with the pals at a camping fire before you take your nap.
Campfire Kwanzaa now that, before you even go to sleep. I'm just picturing this thing, City. should give it a try. What do you do about the noises? You know, here we are talking about people who really have fear about camping, and maybe they may want to actually participate in this event just for this one experience. You know, I want to deal with my fears, camping, or what kind of fears I have. So they are fearing just hearing those things. You're hearing a hyena in the middle of the night. You don't know how far it is. You can't see it. You're just hearing something making noise.
Yeah.
Other things, you don't know what those ones are. Just hearing noises.
Yes.
Okay. What do you tell such people? I mean, what is it that you do when you hear those kind of noises? Do you come out? Do you conjure yourself in your sleeping bag? Or do you call and talk to people at home and tell them, you know what?
Last scene. Last scene in a tent.
Okay, so in camping, we have actually to provide security. Whenever you're camping, you camp with security. A person who understands nature, a person who understands different animals, how they behave. Someone who can tell the proximity of an animal with just hearing the sound. Then you don't have to worry about the sounds, because that's what makes camping fun.
So now you wait out for the sounds. And you start thinking, can you identify that sound? What's that? Oh, that sounds like a zebra.
Yeah. Actually, it's more fun when you're two in a tent and you're just enjoying and trying to brainstorm around which animal is that.
You know, what you're saying,
yes,
I understand, but there are people who grew up in an environment not very dissimilar to that one in their youth, where when it was nighttime, it was pitch dark. There were no street lights, there was nothing. And in your everyday walkabout, you came across animals. Just going about your business, going probably to a shopping center. As for snakes, those are things you encountered inside the house very, very often. So you understood. Either you just fall asleep because they're not going to, or once in a while you find a snake has gotten into the bed. Yes. As for wild animals, it's not unusual for you to stay up at night because there are wild pigs probably coming to eat your maize or something of that sort. I'm talking about an environment in which I lived in every time I went to visit my grandparents, which was every school holiday. Okay? So, and when you went to visit relatives, the idea of sleeping, this thing of sleeping on a bed and a mattress came much later. You slept on a reed mat. Now that reed mat, there was nothing between you and the reed mat except your body, okay?
Yes.
But you had a blanket to keep you warm. Now the thing about the reed mat is when you woke up in the morning, there were lines right across your face.
You became one.
It was imprinted in your face. But it wasn't an issue. Now that I think about it, it's what you call orthopedic, meaning keeps your back straight. Now, somebody who went through that, and most of the time when you went anyway, you actually walked. When you then tell me that it is leisure to walk, I really wonder what on earth you're talking about. Because walking for me was an order of the day. Somebody who grew up running to school, you tell them, you'll be going up this trail. They're wondering, what are you talking about? You see, that for them is normal. So it isn't something that they would consider leisurely. Now, the health aspects of it are phenomenal.
Yes. When
you go through that process, you may not know it, but you're doing yourself a very big favor later on in years. So when I was asking the benefits of camping,
yes,
as a child, when I went home, when there was a full moon, everybody went out to play because it was one big party, a full moon.
Yes.
And you actually saw the moon because, as I said, the light of the moon was not interfered with by anything because there was no electricity. Now, when somebody talks about going somewhere near the wild, there are those who probably didn't experience this. When you talk about it, it's something they'll consider adventurous. There are people like me who will not consider it a big adventure. My children might, but I wouldn't consider it an adventure. So I have to be told of something else within that setup that I might find interesting. That is really what I was getting at. And I'm sure there is. I am certain there is. Yes.
So for this and for Hell's Gate, camping in the wild, I'll have to say you'll just have to come and experience it yourself. And you'll see.
think I need to take you to my rural home.
And actually, talking about your children saying they might like the adventure, we also encouraging people to come and camp with their kids.
Even for him,
yes,
he's talking about things that he did decades ago.
Yeah.
All right, and then for him, because he was the visitor in that environment, it was something unique and scenic. For the boys who lived and girls who lived there, it was normal. For them, it was normal. All right. But now, if they have moved and transitioned from that life, going back into the wild is something different. And this is actually even different because you're not in a village with your neighbors. You don't know Mama so-and-so's house is there and Babu so-and-so's house is there. This is basically you're out there in the wild completely. And you know this is wild animal territory. And then you're seeing all these cliffs jutting and pointing to the sky. And there are no sounds of chicken or cows. There's nothing like that. The sound that you'll hear of a bird will be a bird. The sound you hear of something sounding like a cow will not be a cow.
Definitely.
So the experience is all different.
A growl of thunder sounds like a dog. It will not be a dog.
Yeah. Let's take a break. We'll continue this conversation shortly. We are talking about the Hell's Gate Biking Festival, and the organizer of this and team leader is Jeremiah Njanja. He's here this morning. He's also the founder of Whistle Africa Tours and Events. It's all about the environment. We'll talk about now the environment. Why Hell's Gate? Why environment? How much do we need to do to work on keeping Hell's Gate conserved? 8:30. Now, the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon. This one is Hell's Gate. Let's talk about now running on areas that you know and dressed in how you know how to dress. And, the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon. It's taking place on the 29th of October 2023. This will be the 20th edition, the 20th edition of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon. In Nairobi, it'll be flagged off at Uhuru Gardens, the start and finish, Uhuru Gardens, and then you run along the Southern Bypass. Of course, you know, recently the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon has been taking place across the globe. There will be a virtual run as well this year, and there will be other physical runs across various towns and cities in Kenya. All those details, go to nairobimarathon.com, where you can also register by paying 2,000 shillings. That's www.nairobimarathon.com.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Congratulations. You've seen the hand of the Lord. Thank you very much. I've earned another title today, this morning at Spice FM. Mama Justice, I don't mind it.
Joel in Kericho.
Salama sana Heri, habari ya asubuhi.
Salama bwana, mambo namna gani?
Salama kabisa bro.
Mambo ya Aina Moi kuliendaje?
Mambo ya Aina Moi, vile nilikwambia ndugu yangu, alienda asubuhi na ile gari ya kwanza.
I must have missed it.
So did I.
Even if somebody was to render you irrelevant, there is still work you can do.
Okay, sawa.
I deserve to keep you accountable. You deserve to give me a report. You don't work for me. No, I don't work for you. You work for me.
Do you like that Freudian slip? Lovely, isn't it? Thank you very much.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Cloudy conditions in Nairobi, highs of 18 and lows of 12. We'll see lows of 14 in a mostly sunny Nakuru and going to highs of 23. 18 will be the high in Nyeri, where it's cloudy at 13 and it's partly sunny at 15 in Eldoret. With highs of 22, we'll see lows of 13. It's partly sunny at 24 in Mombasa, highs of 27 and highs of 27 as well in Malindi, where it's sunny at 25. It's mostly cloudy at 21 in Kisumu. We'll see highs of 28 and highs of 26 in a mostly cloudy Kakamega at 20. 19 and partly sunny in Kampala, highs of 25, and 29 will be the high in a partly sunny Dar es Salaam at 25. It's 5 degrees and cloudy in Johannesburg, highs of 15 and lows of 2, and mostly cloudy at 25 in Lagos, going to highs of 29. 32 will be the high in a mostly sunny Kinshasa at 21.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It still continues, but we've not done too badly with traffic today. Into most parts of the city, we should be all right. One thing to watch out for, as we see that now, is that it's heavily foggy as you're heading out of Nairobi in a westerly direction. Going to see that as you go out towards Limuru and then Naivasha out towards Nakuru. The weather heavy with fog and mist today. So fog lights up, folks. You're going to need them if you're heading in that direction. Also parts of Nairobi too, we're seeing that it's pretty heavy as well. I don't even know what's going on in places like Timborough at this point in the morning. Okay, let's keep an eye on things in terms of traffic. On the Thika Superhighway, it's still building as you get towards Survey on the Thika Superhighway. Also, we're looking at Outer Ring, which hasn't done too poorly today, and into the CBD, some pockets of traffic here and there, but all manageable. Let's talk on Spice FM KE on Twitter and keep things moving.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Minutes to 9. We continue our conversation with Jeremiah Njanja, the team leader of the Hell's Gate Biking Festival. First of all, Jeremiah,
yes,
when is this festival?
19th and 20th of August.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the 19th and 20th of August.
Yes.
In Hell's Gate. Sure. 2 days of biking and camping and 1 night of camping.
Yeah.
Or you can make it 2 nights of camping.
1 night of camping.
Okay. 1 night of camping. What does one need to do to register?
So to register, you have to... We have 2 types of registration. We have registration for cyclists, which is through our website. That is www.healthgatebikingfest.com. And then for festival tickets, for people coming for fun, it's the tickets are available on Ticketsasa. Yes.
Oh, so there are 2 categories of people.
Yes.
You can come there to bike.
Yes.
And you can just come there as a spectator.
Yes.
Festival.
Yes.
So what, as a spectator, what will I be doing on this 19th and 20th during the day? Just walk about?
Not really.
That's what maybe CT was asking. So apart from biking, what else?
Yeah, so for spectators, we have a lineup of activities. We have number 1, a Partners Expo. We have very kind partners who have come on board to support this event. So they have an exhibition space where they'll be showcasing their products. Then for people coming with their kids, we have a kids area that is fully equipped with kids activities, including trampolines, bouncing castles, and entertainment to make sure that your kid goes home better than they came. Then we also have a beer village for people who want to refresh themselves while at the event, which of course comes with a food street and a fashion street. Yeah, so we have you occupied if you're not riding. However, we are telling people that cycling is for everyone. Riding is for everyone. So you come to Hell's Gate, as you have fun, also make sure that you cycle.
Is there going to be a number of bikes there for hire?
Yes, yes.
Are there bike vendors, like, you can come in, take a bike, pay X amount for the day and return it in the evening?
So for the bike hire, we're working with a local community at Hell's Gate. So there are guides at Hell's Gate National Park at the gate who have about 300 to 500 bikes. So they'll be in the park that day to hire to people who don't come with their bikes. However, because of the numbers that we're expecting, we're also working with other people that will come and hire out bikes. For camping, we have people who are coming also to hire out camping. So each campsite will have a person hiring you a camping gear, fully equipped with the camping tent, mattress, and a blanket. So you don't have to worry about carrying anything. You can just come as you are. And we have food, we have refreshments, we have camping tents, we have bikes. The only thing missing at Hell's Gate is you.
So then is also the encouragement to get people, even after this event or after this festival, to come back to Hell's Gate and see then what it has to offer in terms of scenic views and things like this. So it's a festival, but it's a showcase of what Hell's Gate is. Yes. Would you say that?
Yes, sure. Because most people have not been to Hell's Gate. Most people get to Naivasha and maybe turn back. So that day we have races that showcase a better part of Hell's Gate. We have family fun races which cut across the most scenic route in the park. Then we have professional races which now goes around the whole park. Then we also have guided tours for that day. You can pick a guide and they will take you to safe areas in Hell's Gate, which you can go with your family and see the beauty that Hell's Gate has to offer. Yes.
I'm not hearing you mention environmental activities, yet this is supposed to be for the environment.
Yeah, of course. So the idea behind the environment is that, so number one, I'll start with the basic statistics of carbon emission, which motorized transport accounts for 25% of carbon emissions in the world. And then in Kenya, it also accounts for about 37% of the carbon emissions that come from industry. So transport accounts to that. So Hell's Gate is to encourage people of how stylish riding a bike is. And you can ride to work, you can ride to school, you can just take a bike over the weekend, you don't need to take your car, so that we can conserve the environment. Because number one, bikes have zero emissions. Then which means we also have a reduced carbon print. Then we also have less noise pollution, because bikes don't have so much noise as you ride. Then we also have a conservation of energy, because as you know, with the crisis of fossil fuels and energy, the only energy that a bike needs is from within your body to cycle. So this conserves the environment and also conserves the energy. Then I'll also have to mention that this event is a plastic-free event.
Okay.
Because there are rules that are within the park. And also, as the event organizers, we have our own rules to make sure that we've left as little impact on the environment in Hell's Gate as possible. So we are encouraging our participants and the spectators and the vendors that will not be allowing any plastic in the park. So if you need water, you have to come with your own reusable bottle. If you are a vendor, we won't allow you to vend anything in plastic.
This is disposable plastic.
Disposable plastic.
Because I can come with my plastic water bottle.
Yes.
And go back with it.
Yes.
Okay. And even the plates can be plastic as long as you carry.
Sure.
Jeremiah, you're a biker, right?
A recreational biker.
A recreational biker.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So a recreational biker is someone who just takes their bike on the weekend and maybe join a group and have a fun ride along. Or just go to a place like Hell's Gate over the weekend and do maybe 10 kilometers. Yeah. Then now, unlike professional bikers who now do 100, 200, 300 kilometers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also I see on weekends people posting that they've been riding and they've done 40 kilometers, they've done 50 kilometers. Have you done that?
Myself, the farthest I've done is, I think, 30 kilometers.
But
yeah, as a recreational biker, you're just riding for fun. So it depends with where your energy takes you, and the goal that you have for the event.
Oh, okay. So what about folks who've not ridden, regularly, or maybe be, newbie riders, and they want to participate in this event? You just trot along until you finish, kind of thing, and is everybody welcome, essentially?
Yes. So we have people train you to ride a bicycle if you don't know how to ride one.
Well, it's going to be difficult to learn how to ride for the festival, right? Or on the go. Should you have at least a little bit of knowledge of riding before you then register for the festival?
No, not really, because riding just needs you to balance on the bicycle
and fall 3 times.
Yeah.
Not really.
I actually think that is a very good idea, because if you can't ride, you're being told you're not left out. It means you never learn to ride, so you have an opportunity to learn how to ride. So that in itself is a good thing. Because there are people who may want to ride, but they've never ridden a bike. Because you need to have ridden a bike somewhere along the line.
At least.
Or somewhere in your life, in an earlier time of your life. And you actually never forget how to ride a bike once you've learned.
You don't.
And actually, I have never heard of a situation where, like, that's a good innovation, where you're actually telling people, you come.
There'll be biking lessons.
Yes.
And learning how to ride doesn't take you long, because as long as you know how to balance on the bike, you're good to go. Then as long as you have a professional training you. Because I know most of us have a bad experience of when you're trained by your brother or your sister or your uncle, they just push you.
You have no idea.
You have to fall 3 times. Once you fall 3 times,
fall 3 times,
now
you're
you're
good to go.
You're thinking falling. Someone takes you to a place where there's a bit of a dip. Then they pretend they're holding, then they push you. Well, you are going to balance.
You will learn.
You will balance.
We have professionals on crowd who will handle you well, and make sure in about an hour or 2 hours you can at least balance on the bicycle, and then on the following day you can actually ride on your own.
How would you advise somebody who just wants to get into biking? I mean, what do they need? What's a biker's starter pack? What shoe? What kind of protective gear? What kind of bike?
The biggest biker starter pack is passion. The passion to ride, the passion to know how to ride. And then, of course, there's now the safety measures that comes around with it, of putting on a helmet, a reflector when you're on the road. And the last one is owning a bike, which people think you should actually own a bike first and know how to ride. Because as long as you have a passion, you can hire a bike on the weekend. You can come to the events like ours and hire a bike. Yes. So it's passion, then just knowing the safety around biking, and now owning a bike.
And these bikes that have gears, what are those gears? Do you teach people, so this one on this right hand is for this from the left hand? If you learned how to ride a bike with, what are these called?
A professional...
No.
Black Mamba.
We're talking about
the Black Mamba.
If your first experience with a bike was a Black Mamba.
Yes.
Right? Where the gear is the energy.
The gear is one.
It's one gear.
You
And now we have these other gears that have, they have got the gears, the bikes that have got gears and all.
Yeah.
So how would you progress somebody into those ones?
So for starters, we'll train you with the basic gears. Then as you advance, you get to learn actually on your own different gears that are used. But we'll give you a brief on this gear is used on a mountain. This gear is used on a downhill. Yeah, but ideally you learn with the basic gear, close to the Black Mamba that you're saying. Yes.
What do you hope to achieve, apart from the environmental aspects of this, and saying, okay, well, money raised will go towards, facelift and things like this at Hell's Gate. What do you hope to achieve in the hearts and minds of folks who are going to attend this festival or participate?
So number one is the awareness of cycling as a lifestyle kind of a transport. And the other one is now to achieve the awareness of Hell's Gate is the best biking and camping destination, because you can't actually explain Hell's Gate enough. You just have to come and see it yourself. Even on photos, I've never seen a photo that has done Hell's Gate justice. You just have to come and see the beauty in Hell's Gate.
Actually, because photographs will focus on a certain feature of Hell's Gate.
Yes.
And then when you get there, you realize that there's a lot more to Hell's Gate than just the rocks. There's a lot more to Hell's Gate than just, remember the creatures I spoke about earlier on. Yes.
All the gorges.
All the gorges. There's a yes.
Yeah.
But let me ask this question.
Yes.
Before setting up this particular process that we are now talking about, Have you had similar events before? Maybe of a smaller nature? Or what is it that gave you the idea that there might be a demand, or there might be people who would be willing or who might be interested in participating in such a thing?
We have had small scale biking events.
Yes.
And every time we host a subsequent event, we keep on receiving the same people. Same people meaning repeat clients and people who come with their friends. So I started making inquiries of these repeat guests, of what drives you to come again and again and again. Then I realized there's so much passion in people in riding in scenic areas. Yeah. So this is what drove us to choose Hell's Gate, because it's the most scenic park. Then it's the safest park to ride in. So that's the drive that came along with it. Yeah. Then, as I said, we are also looking to bring together a community of bikers and non-bikers together, which actually, if you look at it, can also reduce the rough interaction that we have with bikers on our roads. Because if you've seen someone ride for fun or racing to win, and you appreciate biking, and you've rode on a bike yourself, you won't harm anyone on the road. Yeah, so it's also in terms of safety. Enlightening non-bikers on bikers are just people like you, and it's a stylish thing that you can also do apart from driving in your car. Yeah.
One of the things that I have often found interesting is how it is something that begins simply as an individual recreational activity can actually pull so many people together. I'm saying this because I noticed bikers during the COVID period. Because I would go to the place I buy newspapers in the morning, and I'd find them like around 12 people. And it's not just a certain age group. It's mixed gender, younger. And I even had a conversation with one person once and asked, how is it that you people are here at this hour? Because it was early, around 6:30 in the morning. And they explained to me and said why it is they're there and what they're doing. And I kept seeing them. And then I would see them on the road, actually.
Yeah.
But when COVID ended, I don't see them anymore.
Oh, people are there, cyclists are there.
Yes.
In organized groups. It's only that we don't have as many events and big events to bring people together. So, because every weekend you will hear of cycling events, but small scale cycling events, which might not maybe catch your attention. But the cycling community is very big in Kenya. Then also, I would say maybe the government also doesn't really support the cycling community, because I was looking at the statistics, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics report, and you can't see anywhere the statistics to do with bicycle or cycling. The only part that you see cycling being mentioned is in fatal accidents or pedaling accidents that have occurred. Yeah. So, being that it's not yet recognized as a sport, whether recreational or professional in the country, you might not hear it. You might have just seen it in during the COVID times when everyone was proactive, keeping fit.
Okay. And you've answered the question that was in my mind, because I was wondering where they went to. And if there are small biking events taking place every once in a while, it means the biking is alive.
Yes, very much.
So essentially what you're saying is that an event such as yours is a much bigger event that brings all these small communities of bikers together.
Yes. Yes, sure.
Makes perfect sense.
And these things actually have, taken root. So we have bikers, we've got motorcycle riders, we've got people who go hiking. So people who are just hiking enthusiasts, and they're planning the next hike, going to various different places, small hills, big hills, elephant hills, mountains. And then there are those who are just onto camping. And they look at places where they'll go and where are we going to have a most clear sky? On this weekend, and they basically chasing the sunsets and skies and night skies, and camping becomes a whole communities that have come together into this, it creates that whole social connection, because you're here with people who are initially they were strangers. Now you become friends, you become a new family, and people who have something in common, and all these things are about exercise.
Yeah.
So there's the healthy side to it, and appreciation of nature. When you're out there camping, hiking, riding, you're appreciating nature. How can all these groups be used better to champion environmental conservation?
Through, number one, events like this, whereby you bring all these groups together towards a common conversation. Because remember, when you have so many organized groups, every group is targeted towards maybe helping a children's home somewhere, another one towards conservation, another one just for fun. But when we come together in an event like this, have all these groups coming together for a common conversation towards environment and towards raising the conversation that biking is actually the most sustainable form of transport.
Yeah.
It's only when we can achieve this goal. And remember, there are countries like Netherlands where 51% of the population actually do cycle on day-to-day basis to work, over the weekend.
Like daily, like it's become normal for them.
Yeah.
Like for Steve Menya, who says he rides his bike every day from Pangani to Kiambu. That's 12 kilometers, 24 kilometers daily.
And that's daily.
Yeah.
70 minutes only.
So it's something that can be done, and it's something that we are up to the task to make sure that we've brought everyone together through this event.
I also like the potential of what this could do. Maybe you could speak to that as well, because you're going to Hell's Gate is a national park, right? And there's always a push to have local tourism beefed up. So here you are looking at the healthy side as well as the environment or conservatory side. But then there's also the tourism aspect that we look at, and the push for local tourism to contribute significantly to the tourism agenda in the country. So do you see this as something that could grow? So you're riding what? How many kilometers is it going to ride during the festival? How many would you ride during the festival?
For professionals, it's 50 kilometers.
50 kilometers, yeah?
Yeah, for recreational riders, it's about 10 kilometers.
Right. So then you could see yourself, I mean, also you talked about the safety of the park in terms of animals and things like that. But then also there are other parts of the country then that could be elevated as well to get more Kenyans going to Kenya's tourist destinations and building up that number within Kenya. Could you see something develop out of that so that you start to rack up the numbers from within the country?
Yeah, sure. And actually, also, the part of the goals that we have for this event is to remind people that Hell's Gate is still there, and you can visit Hell's Gate in the moment, and it's safe. Because remember when the gorges were closed some years back, and the gorges used to be the iconic attraction to Hell's Gate. So people actually think Hell's Gate is still close to date, but Hell's Gate has so much more to offer. So these events like this are held in a park, actually open up the park, and people see that there are other things that you can come and do with your family and your pets. Yeah.
First Lady Rachel Ruto is a biker. So you've got, at the highest level, some very big visibility. Have you reached out to her office and the team that she supports in riding?
Yes, we've reached out to the office. And we are in conversation with the team, that is Mama Cycling.
Yes.
In terms of how we can partner for this particular event. So far, we've not locked any partnership, but they are very interested, and I believe she's also interested. That's why the office reached out to us. Yes.
What do you think, now that we have such kind of visibility and at such a high level of the First Lady of the country actually being an avid biker and having her own, mama team for biking and promoting biking, where do you see biking in the next, let's say, in the next 5 years in this country?
In the next 5 years, I see a more safe environment to ride. Because if we have a recognition at the, I would call it at a presidential level, that means that bikers are in the mind of the First Lady and most probably in the President's mind. So I can see better roads built with cycling routes in Kenya. Then I can see biking being recognized as a sport in the Ministry of Sports. And I can also see more people coming to biking because remember there are people who still have the notion that cycling is for men. And here we have a First Lady who's cycling, and she's a woman. So I see more biking becoming a cross-gender sport.
Very
where
good.
more women are encouraged to bike and more men are coming to the sport.
Once again, 19th and 20th of August, that's when the Hell's Gate Biking Festival is taking place. And you can register by going to the Hell's Gate Biking
Fest.com. www.hellsgatebikingfest.com.
That's where you register.
Yes.
And on Ticketsasa you can find the other tickets.
The participants' tickets.
Yes. Sawa kabisa. Somebody saying, yani kuzoea shida ni ngumu. Mpaka Hell's Gate haistui City Muga.
Point.
Jeremiah Njanja is the team leader, Hell's Gate Biking Festival. He's been our guest. Give it here for more conversations. It's 9 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Some very nice, mature music.
They really take me back to my days, and I can just feel get and enjoy the vibes.
Spice.
I'm a big listener of Spice FM.
You play the best music.
This is 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning, this is Nizo. I'm Dennis Aseto. The controversy over the alleged misappropriation of monies meant for Londiani crash victims continues to deepen, with two separate committees formed by Kericho County Government to probe the claims. This is besides additional investigations being carried out by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, which has already recorded statements from the victims' families. Kericho Deputy Governor Fred Kirui and a section of other county leaders have called for investigations into the alleged misuse of the 13.6 million shillings collected during a fundraising presided over by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Meanwhile, the county governor Eric Mutai, however, insists that the embezzlement claims are unfounded, as the process of paying the money to the families of those affected is still underway.
The committee confirms to me that progressively they've been giving out money, and they've been giving out money to the victims and even the families that have continued to be identified. We have patients in the hospital. You know, normally you pay for the doctor, you pay for the beds, and we have continued to say, and I still indicate here, that medical bills will still be met by the county government of Kericho. Those that were in the mortuary, we waived the mortuary fee.
He added that the allegations that the outsourced tents were paid for by the funds raised for the victims. The governor states that the payment will be done by the county government.
I have equally directed the committee, because they have the money they have not paid out, to be able to release the money that is said is for tents, because the county government of Kericho is the one to pay for the tents. This is not a broke county. This is a very rich county. And we cannot have a county where we'll be able to source for tents and then, you know, we go for fundraiser to pay for the tents. No.
The cholera case load in the country stands at 11,181, with 196 fatalities in 26 counties. Ministry of Health official Emmanuel Okunga says this has necessitated the launch of the oral cholera vaccination campaign. Okunga adds that the 10-day exercise targeting 8 counties aims at vaccinating 1.5 million people aged 1 year and above.
There is a global shortage of cholera vaccines. So because of the large outbreaks across the continent and in Asia and Middle East, we are now giving 1 dose of vaccine, and this provides protection for 6 months. If you give 2 doses, the protection will last you 3 years.
Deputy Director Public Health Sultani Matende Chero News Part maintained that the cholera outbreak in the country can only be contained through individual responsibility and a multi-stakeholder approach.
77% ya wale watu ambao wameambukizwa ugonjwa huu huwa hawaonyeshi ishara zozote, lakini wanaendelea kuambukiza wengine. Kwa hivyo tungependa watu wote waweze kujitokeza, hata kama wanasikia kama ni wagonjwa ama hapana, waweze kupata chanjo ili tusaidie kupunguza usambazaji wa ugonjwa huu ambao umeleta maafa mengi.
Capitation for learners in the comprehensive schooling system will be reviewed every 3 years. This is according to the report by the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms. The recommendation comes on the back of repeated calls for an increase in the funds allocated towards the capitation of learners from soon-to-be former primary and secondary schools. The report has also recommended a marginal increase in the money allocated to learners from the current rate, with education stakeholders saying the report's recommendations have put more financial resources within their reach. The Nakuru Chief Magistrates Court has sentenced a man to 30 years in prison or a fine of 15 million shillings for vandalizing a 600-meter electric conductor valued at 60,000 shillings. The suspect, Edwin Kiplangat Ngeno, was arrested on 26th of July in possession of the conductor at Stombili Township in Joro Sub-County within Nakuru County. He appeared before AP Ndege and was charged with 3 counts: vandalism of energy equipment and infrastructure, stealing of energy equipment and unlawfully handling of energy equipment contrary to Section 169 of the Energy Act of 2019. And a 61-year-old woman is recuperating at the Mama Lucy Hospital after suffering injuries at the hands of a self-proclaimed pastor claiming to have been delivering her from illness at Mukuru Kwajenga slums in Nairobi. The said man of the cloth, identified as Daniel Murithi, is alleged to have been inserting his arms and hands into the woman's private and extracting some of her internal organs, a process that led to a huge loss of blood. The woman, who hails from Kisii County, was reportedly taken to the self-declared pastor for healing by her children after being in pain for a long period of time. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, so not too bad this morning. A little bit of it still coming off of Thika Superhighway. The visibility problem is a little bit more than the traffic problem this morning. It's heavy on Landis, all the way from the junction at the City Stadium through towards the Kamkunji roundabouts. It's heavy then on Haile Selassie, just there at the opening. Some traffic coming in from Gong Road, and they all meet somewhere and fizzle out. So not to worry too much about that. The traffic that came off of Thika Superhighway and went all the way to Muranga Road, just as you get to the Globe Cinema overpass, is what's still giving some problems. And let's look at there coming in from Utali and then out towards the Pangani underpass is where you still have some traffic, as well as who's this? This is Juja Road, and there's traffic there as well, in and outbound traffic. Limuru Road is also pretty busy. My goodness, Limuru Road is doing the thing this morning, innit? Coming off United Nations Avenue, that still continues for some time. Let's keep an eye on things and hopefully we'll be out of traffic hour by 9:30. Let's talk on Spice FM, KE on Twitter.
The man who looks at a beautiful girl and doesn't talk to her will end up serving lunch at her wedding.
Aye, City. Do like that.
My father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man?
Ameua panya.
Small mammal, big mammal.
Mtu atamshinda.
What are they saying? How are we comparison? I mean, you kill a mouse.
What are they saying?
What they're saying is, my father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man? Name, surprise. Someone's name.
The name surprised you?
No, the name is surprise.
No, what am I saying? I'm from Nigeria, man. I met somebody called I Believe. So I said, your name is I Believe? Yes, my name is I Believe. But that's the short form. I said, excuse me? I said, yes, my name is I Believe. So what's the full name? I believe in the goodness of
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This
Good morning.
is the
We're on to
Situation
the
Room.
final of Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room, 8 minutes after 9. How are you doing? It's Thursday, the 3rd day of August 2023. We live stream the show every weekday morning on YouTube and on Facebook. Thank you very much for following the conversations there. We are also live, of course, on Spice FM across the country, and those who are tuned in on Spice FM, asanteni sana as well for following the conversations there. A date that is coming, and it's a very important date, is the 29th of October. This is the day when we will be marking the 20th edition of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon, running in the city. The first time it started was 20 editions ago. Okay? And now this year will be a big one because we'll be marking 20 years of running. The largest single day athletics event in this country is back this year. It's bigger. Get ready for this 20th edition of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon. It'll be flagged off from Uhuru Gardens in Nairobi, and people will be running along the Southern Bypass and back. But also we know that it takes place in other parts of the country as well. Standard Chartered will be announcing all those areas. If you go to nairobimarathon.com, you'll get all the information about this year's event, and you'll be able to register. Early registration is good, so that when you start now running and jogging and preparing yourself for the marathon, you know you have a target and a date. The 29th of October is the date. The target is for you to finish the race. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, participate, finish. In Nairobi, 2,000 shillings is all you need to register. nairobimarathon.com. Holidays are here.
Holidays are here, and GoTV is saying spend the holidays tuned into your favorite channels for children. Every day is a fun day, and GoTV has made that possible for all of us. The holiday is even hotter with numerous kids shows on GoTV. Today, Toad and Friends Eco on at 4:15 on Cartoonito, channel 90 on GoTV. Engage the imaginations of children. Let them see how the Toad lives in a big mansion called Toad Hall, and how he has adventures with his friends. They will see how Mr. Toad likes food, swimming, and wears stylish outfits, and his weasels that are his friends as well. Entertain your child with that show. Simply download CT GoTV app or dial *432# and stay connected to fun. GoTV, love it.
Very good. Now today, this Justice Thursday, we are talking about environment and land matters. Earlier at 7 a.m. we had the Honorable Justice Lucy Mbogwa, who is the head of the Land Division of the Environment and Land Court. And then, of course, the previous hour we were talking about environmental conservation and thinking about cycling at the Hell's Gate National Park to raise an awareness on environmental conservation. We are back to conversation about land, and we have two guests who are joining us now. Samuel Komu is a project officer with Transparency International Kenya, and Anthony Njenga is a civic educator and a paralegal. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. This is a hot seat of the Situation Room. You're occupying both of them. We don't have any other. We have maximum 2 hot seats, and now both of them are occupied.
Thank you.
Matters of land are, well, you know, it's all about emotion. People have gone to great lengths on land and land disputes. It's important for us to understand land governance, and that's why you two gentlemen are here. Karibuni sana. City has the day's proverb. Today's proverb has...
Well, the whole of this week are proverbs from the Federal Republic of Somalia, otherwise known as Somalia, Federal Republic. Okay? A woman, no, let me make it plural. Women look for lost camels in their bosom.
Women look for lost camels in their bosom.
Yes.
Samuel.
Yes.
What do you make of that proverb? What's your interpretation of it?
Women look for their lost camel in their bosom. That sounds interesting.
Doesn't it just?
I think talking about the special role of women and the product, I think, and how close they hold, how they hold close the product that is the child that they bear, and such kind of conversation. I don't know whether I'm right.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about Proverbs, my brother, is your interpretation is what we want. Everyone hears it, but it's how it relates to you.
It's how you.
I think that is how it reads to me.
Yes.
How important or how close they hold whatever product that they give to the universe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anthony, what's yours?
Well, that's a good one. I don't know how the Somalis do their trade and where the women keep their money, because I've seen it here in Kenya. Women tend to keep their money somewhere close to their bosom. So perhaps it may have a bearing on trade and the storage of money. But then again, also, I presume that there is a dowry system, and the camel plays quite a big role in communities of like in Somalia. So perhaps we are somewhere remotely, I can say that we are talking about money. Thank you.
And they're looking for it in their bosom.
That's why they keep it.
Where they keep it.
Yeah.
It's another view.
Oh, yes. This is the beauty of a proverb. It's how people relate to that proverb and what they hear. But always bear in mind where the proverb comes from. Because in many communities in this country, there would be proverbs, but there would be no proverbs with camels because they don't have camels.
Exactly.
Yes. And you also have to consider the role a camel plays in that community. Yes. There are communities where you would say goat, some you'd say cow, some you'd say donkey, some you might even say fish.
Along the coast.
Yeah. Okay, Anthony, you're a civic educator.
Yes.
What does that mean? What's that?
A civic educator, I guess the easiest way of putting it is that down there in the communities, Okoh, in the communities, Mashinani. A long time ago, we used to have civic education as a subject in primary school, and that was teaching people in early on matters governance and how government works. Somewhere along the way, I think that was dropped. So you have within our communities, you have a lot of ignorance on how government works, and that's why kila mtu anasema serikali saidia, because we really don't know how to approach government. So what we do, I think somewhere you said I'm a paralegal, is we try to bring down and let the people get to understand law and how governance works for them in a simple, straightforward way, and without necessarily paying and without going to a class. So often we will organize clinics with women groups, Nyumba Kumi, within the communities, even visit schools sometimes to give talks, especially very topical is the Constitution of Kenya, which over 10 years down the line, I think you'll agree with me that very few of us understand it at all. So that's the role we, as a civic educator, that's the role we play in the communities. Of course, sometimes...
Who do you do it on behalf of?
On behalf of ourselves, to start with. Of course, we do have backing. I mean, Transparency International trains its civic educators on matters, law, matters to do with their corruption and how to advise people against corruption. I also am a paralegal for Kituo cha Sheria, and Kituo cha Sheria too trains us to handle things, gender-based violence, advising people on how to navigate through government as I think we understand, after devolution, things became a bit complicated because then a lot of people, I would say over 90% of the communities, people in our community, do not even know what role the national government plays vis-a-vis what the county governments play. So you even go to a chief's meeting or a meeting and you hear people asking the chief to make sure there's a dispensary or a health center built across there, which is, and
county role,
which is a county role. That's broadly that's what we do. Also, there are a lot of matters which become challenges, legal challenges for the communities in courts and everywhere. They can actually be stopped before they develop into legal challenges by simply giving information. Just simply letting Muga know that you can apply for a birth certificate through a cyber cafe next door, okay, and just pay. So that alone can help a lot. I remember I can give you a couple of examples where when it became necessary for school children to be enrolled in the digital system, it became necessary that
we called it NEMIS.
That every child goes and gets a birth certificate. Now, as simple as it is, you'll be surprised how the challenge it is. And you'd go and find someone there decides this is a business opportunity, so letter Elfuine, and I'll get it done for you. And then they go down to River Road and have one printed. Later on, when they present this to the school, if the school teacher is in a bad mood that day, they'll call the police. And it becomes a legal matter, okay? Because we're talking about forgery. But if you came to a paralegal for free, they'll tell you, Mama, this is a very simple issue. Let's come with me. If you have a laptop, let's go. What documents do you have for your child? Do you have a birth notification? If you don't, let's walk to the chief's office and you get a letter and you get the process done like that. Basically, that's what we do. Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It is, but the thing that I wonder is, how do you ascertain that the message you are trying to pass across is actually understood? That if you want people to understand these salient aspects about the law, that they actually understand them. And where understanding here would go beyond just them telling you, I have understood, but that it reflects in the way they then handle that matter. So that if previously, as you said, they would go to the chief and talk about the clinic or a health facility, you now say they no longer go to the chief, they actually go to the MCA and they talk, they go to the office, the constituency office and talk to the constituency manager about these things. How do you measure?
Good question there. I think I would tell you, quite simple. The Kenyan Constitution. You recall before we went approved it, there were thousands and thousands and thousands of copies that were circulated so that everybody was to read and understand.
Yes.
And one of the things that we pride ourselves with is that it's not written in legal jargon. It's in simple, day-to-day language. And that's the approach we give in our civic education. So the very first thing that we do, and very, very importantly, is that we will look and try to make somebody understand, first of all, you have rights. Chapter 4 of the Constitution of Kenya. The moment you begin to make them understand that they are not, nothing is done as a favor, it is a right, then what happens is you get a lot of attention. Okay? And once you've captured that attention, then it's very, very easy for you to give your message. And when you give your message, You do not, for instance, take an act of parliament and say, this is, how complicated it is. You bring it down in a lugha ile ambayo that mama or that mzee or that young lady understands. Now, let me put it very clearly here. Sometimes we think, we look at it and assume that only the people who have not been to school need this kind of help. No, it's not true. Actually, the majority of Kenyans do not understand. They fear law. Anything legal, they fear it. The majority of Kenyans, you only need to tell them to go and collect a county government license, and they don't want to navigate that. They would rather go and bribe someone, because it's instilled in us that everything to do with government is very complicated, and it is, there are lots and lots of potholes on the way. And of course, whether we like it or not, the players within the government sector have enjoyed that to making it seem complicated. Okay, that's how come a Kenyan is likely to, when they get stopped by a policeman on the road, instead of asking, what have I done, they will go to their pocket very quickly, produce 100 and says, Mkubwa, habari asubuhi. It's and sometimes we bring the cops for this, but absolutely look at it. I mean, I'm the one who came in and offered that. So the guy says, okay, fine, but next time, kindly put your indicator lights on as you turn. That's basically that. Now, a normal Kenyan does not realize that person has a job description. When a child is growing up, mamas tell their kids, usifanye hivyo ama nitakuitia polisi. Do you see how we grow up? Now, I'll tell you something interesting. In our civic education approach, the moment I hear a mama say that to a child in the market, I will stop there and say, Mama, you shouldn't tell your child that, because the child will grow up fearing authority. Yeah. So we go that way.
Civic education is basically brought down to the very lowest level.
The very lowest level. And as of now, there is another aspect of it. There is digital literacy. Many of us pride ourselves having really great phones and all that, but you'll be surprised how many of us actually know how to use them. How many, the resources that we have there. Como and I, when we're doing civic education, we always say everything is in your hands. All the Kenyan laws are there. You want to look for a bill in Parliament, there is even an app that is populated every day by Parliament. You want to do public participation, you cannot be there. There is an email address you can write to. You see, but how many of us know this? This is another kind of marginalization that's happening now, where we have the resources, but we actually don't know how to use those resources. Exactly.
Let's switch over now to the conversation about land and land governance, because like Como, we have been saying, when it comes to understanding the law, that is one side. When it comes to land, soil, Kenyans have this other relationship with soil. Now, put that whole emotional side of soil and put this whole laws on soil. What are the areas that, as you deal with, civic education as Transparency International, and you come across people asking or dealing with land matters, what areas really come out?
I think first for me, I think it's the approach that we have as TI through the project that we are implementing. We are calling it land and corruption. And our priority intervention first is creating awareness on land rights. And for this we are doing because one, we realize just like corruption, I think land, as you have said, is a very emotive issue here in this country. But most of the things or the challenges that we encounter and we are interacting with, and even citizens interact with, emanate from lack of information and lack of awareness. So our main intervention revolves around creating awareness on land rights, and also now trying to create a link between the citizens and those people who are in power or the duty. We usually call them duty bearers, just to solve the gaps that come in. And some of these things revolve around lack of information. There is also institutions, the policy and laws that have been put in place, the gaps around the policies, the laws, and also we have institutions that are not willing to implement these laws and policies, and also we have some kind of approach to some of the issues, and I think this has also been addressed within the Truth and Justice and Reconciliation report that tries to put into picture some of the injustices, land injustices that we are yet to solve in the country. So we have a number of issues that come in. We have issues to do with duplication of titles. It's more of a lot of things around the titling. We have new things coming up. We have companies that are coming up and selling land that is already having issues. So those are some of the issues that we come across as far as land governance is concerned. And I'm sure my colleague here will give a very good example around those issues from the experiences we have had working around Nairobi. I think it's one of the areas that have some very weird issues around land, and especially we call it peri-urban area, specifically Kamuru area, that we have had quite a challenge. We have the conversation around ranches that has become it's actually a risky affair, because it has even had people, a number of the leaders killed. Yep. Yeah, so we have a number of things, and I believe we also get to conversation about digitalization as one of the initiative I believe the government is doing to help solve some of these issues around titling, ownership of land, even the historical question or injustice that is part of the challenges. Yeah.
Let's take a break. We'll continue the conversation shortly. This morning we are discussing governance of land and land governance issues, understanding the law, understanding the challenges that people come across. Transparency International has a program that they've been running, and today Samuel Okoh, who's a project officer at TI Kenya, is one of the guests, and Anthony Njenga, a civic educator and a paralegal, is the other guest for this conversation. Let's take a look at traffic quickly, and then we'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
James, hey, been a minute. What's been going on?
Maze, let me tell you about Maricela.
Okay.
She has wizard me anywhere. She's the best. She's reliable. She takes me to places I've never been, man. Akona quality, yani. She's never let me down, and I'm so glad she's in my life.
Wait, who are you talking about?
I see my car, man. Who did you think I was talking about?
Ebu, tell me more about this Maricela. Where did you meet, and how can I get in
Are you tired of searching high and low for a pre-owned car? Introducing Automark by CFAO, your one-stop destination for quality pre-owned vehicles. Visit us today at Bellevue along Popo Road, South Sea, or give us a call on 0711 050 000 to make the first step towards your dream car. Automark by CFAO, driving your dreams forward.
Oh, finally! It's my Standard Courier delivery.
At Standard Courier, we know that your time is valuable. That's why we guarantee swift and efficient deliveries to your doorstep every time. Give us a call on 0793 599 684 or schedule your next delivery by visiting our website www.standardmedia.co.ke/courier. Trust Standard Courier Service for all your courier needs. We deliver with pride.
Just a little bit of it left at the Pangani underpass as you're getting into the CBD. Limuru Road still continues with some traffic as you're coming in from that whole area coming through towards United Nations Avenue. Into the CBD coming out of Westlands, not too bad anymore. So let's talk about where traffic is. And just on Jogo Road going towards Landis, continue for some time as we get out of traffic hour. Into the CBD also from Langata Road is what we'll have to deal with. Thereafter, I think we're fine through the day. It is, after all, coming to the end of traffic hour this morning. Talk to us regardless through the day on Spice FM KE on Twitter.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
6 minutes to 10. This Thursday, the Justice Thursday, we have basically having conversations about land and environment. And for this hour, it's about land and governance and understanding governance issues. Samuel Komu, Project Officer, TI Kenya, that's Transparency International Kenya, and Anthony Njenga, who is a civic educator and a paralegal, are our guests this morning. We are live on Spice FM, also live on KTN News, and live on YouTube and Facebook. Samuel, Anthony, let me start with you. The issue of understanding land and governance issues. Earlier, when we were talking to a judge of the land court, she told us very many times people come to court because of basically what the land regime is like, and the historical challenges that people have had in terms of ownership of land, lack of title deeds, ancestral land, and now you're coming to get a title for it, or you have transferred ownership without involving everybody in the family in the transfer process, or community land, where this is community land and some members of the community would like, to turn this into commercial property, and then there's issues there. Or private land, where it's private, yes, but like someone was saying earlier, the issue of who actually holds the title becomes a big issue. When you're working in the community and the areas that you've worked in, which of these ones is the most prevalent, like, challenge that you see people saying, here, land?
Title. Land ownership. Yes.
What about it?
I think I'll be perhaps. Let me be specific, maybe so that we can understand this. Let me use an example of something that is going on, something I'm very, very familiar with, and I think you can replicate this all across our land. But I'll pick up Kamuru because it's famous. Bloti Maguta, you know it. That's what everybody says. Mm-hmm. And so I'll give you a little background about how this land changes and how it becomes very difficult to get titles and where the challenges are. Then you can, base that. So, like many parts of this country, when we come from a colonial past, and so this Bloti Maguta in Kamuru, Roai, Ngondo, is actually a product of ranches that were bought by cooperatives right after independence. The Muzungu was there for their own reasons. They chose to live, or sometimes they were made to live, coaxed into living. And so people formed cooperatives to buy this land. So we form a cooperative, you buy the land, and they are initial shareholders. These shareholders, once they've got their pieces of land, they decide they either keep or sell. For those who decide to sell, they have not taken their title of their land as yet. is just at the level of an allotment letter.
Yes.
And they are quick to sell. And in the case like in most places of Nairobi, the people who have the knowledge that land is going somewhere are groups of people who have either formed themselves as a land buying company in quotes, because some of them were not even registered. It's just a chama. Let's go and buy a piece of land in Roy or whatever. And then immediately they're buying it for commercial purposes. So they divide it very, very fast. Let's say it was 1 acre. They divide it very fast into 8, 10, or 16 pieces, whatever they have agreed. And because of the hunger for land, the moment you hear, and it's still going on up to today, the moment you hear there is a 40 by 60, 40 by 80, or 50 by 100, you rush for it and you pay for it, and within no time, it's all occupied.
Yeah.
Then, but you don't know whether the people who sold you the land actually had cleared with the original owner of the land. And you remember there was no transfer of title.
It was just an allotment.
An allotment.
The only documentation is an allotment letter.
The allotment letter. Okay.
And who issues the allotment letter?
The city county. Nairobi City Council at that time. Okay. Minister of Lands via the Nairobi City Council.
Just pause.
Yes.
You were the original allottee.
Yes.
You sell to my sister Ndu over there. Okay. What instruments do you use for selling this land?
An agreement.
Yes.
Handing over the original allotment letter.
Okay.
And since the cooperative had a register, often a black book, you're familiar with that?
Yes, I'm familiar with black book.
It's the name is crossed out, and
so
the new
City
name
Muga is crossed out, and Okoh is now written.
Yes, one line across, and the new name is put there.
Okay.
Yes.
Now she goes and subdivides.
Yes.
So what then does she issue to Eric and myself?
She goes into a cyber and asks the cyber attendant to make some certificates saying Eric and Jenga Company Limited. Okay.
Right.
And that's what we hand out. Okay, certificates. Okay.
So it will now be a certificate from the land buying company.
Exactly.
That will now be allotting you portion 001, which is a 40 by 20.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Awaiting the title.
Absolutely.
Awaiting the title.
Yes, awaiting there. Remember here, there are taxes that have not been paid. There is the land rent to the Minister of Lands. It has not been paid. The rates to the council has not been paid. But that's not in consideration at this moment. So we keep moving.
Okay.
Okay.
So he has bought his 40 by 20. I have bought my 40 by 20. Okay, now, this piece of land as an entity, if I were to go to the Ministry of Lands, what does it exist as?
It does not exist. It's as simple as that.
Which one? The 40 by 20?
The 40 by 20
okay.
does not
what
exist.
Exists is the original piece.
Exactly.
Wait. Original piece for which
the allotment
letter was given.
Yes.
Which means that in the ministry, it is still one huge chunk of land.
Absolutely.
So even the subdivision she got, which she subsequently
what she then
chopped up and sold to us, those don't exist.
Okay.
Not on the records.
Not on the records.
Yeah.
So what existed was the big piece of land owned by the Muzungu. That one was subdivided properly, legally. So you now have 1 acre pieces of land.
So the allotments are real.
The allotments are written
the
now.
The documents in the original black book.
Yes. The document from the city county, from the Minister of Lands, allotting the 1 acre is to your name.
It is real.
Right.
It's real. It's real. But you're supposed to write and accept that piece of land to the ministry.
I'm supposed to accept it.
Yes.
Or I've been allotted.
Yes.
I'm supposed to take up the allotment by writing back.
Yes.
Okay.
In most cases, that never happened.
So when your land is allotted to you, it means you didn't buy it. Somebody gave it to you. Or is that just the legal term they use for whatever process you have?
in the case of Nairobi and other municipalities, the land is actually on lease from the government.
So even the original ranch owner had leased it.
At that particular time, it could have been. It could have been freehold.
It could
But the moment you change from freehold in a municipality, the moment you subdivide, it changes now and becomes leasehold. 99 years.
So essentially what we're saying right now, because this practice of subdivision of land is rampant. So the folks who have bought the 40 by 20 here, bought it here, don't have titles. And the reason why they don't have titles is because those little parcels of land don't exist. From the titler, as it were, they will not be able to give you this because they don't exist. So how then, with my little piece of land that I've gotten from whomever, do I, number one, prove ownership, number two, hold ownership, and then number three, have it for any kind of use that I want in the future?
The only proof of ownership you have is that piece of paper called a certificate that
which I got at the cyber cafe.
Which you got from the person who sold it to you through, down at the cyber cafe. But it is not recognized anywhere.
But that's what I want to ask, is it even legal?
Yeah, because anybody could do it in a cyber, and it's a little thing, and you draw on a piece of paper. Is that not it?
So essentially, I own nothing.
Essentially, you are a squatter. And this matter is complicated further. Remember that the actual owner of the land is the one who appears on the letter of allotment.
Okay. So they are still the owner.
Owners of the land.
But isn't this really sticky though, Anthony? Because that means that anybody could come tomorrow and say, well, you know what? This is mine. You actually have no proof of ownership. And according to them, actually, you don't have ownership at all. Because even what you would say is proof is a little piece of paper that was printed by somebody in a cyber cafe and it is not recognized by the titling authority.
And that is why we are having so many of such cases around, and a lot of companies coming in and leaving people fighting, because I am here claiming ownership of the land. I have the data. Eric comes in. He is also claiming ownership of the land that he came and showed him. He came yesterday, showed me the same. Today it's Eric. So you meet up. Eric decided to set up his maybe building in the land, and I come and start evicting based on that documentation.
Now, these third generation buyers, are they innocent or not? Legally.
As of now, from a very recent decision, is that you as a buyer, you have the bank stops with you to make
have a responsibility to have done
due diligence.
Yes. And the due diligence here should go all the way to the lands office.
The lands office.
Now, we all know that these land buying companies are criminal in nature.
Yes.
They will make sure that when I go to the lands office, I will find everything aligned. And these are the things that you've now dealt with, right? Where the original, all these lands where you say in Kamulu, you go to Syokimau, go even to Konza, and you find everywhere where there is now a big piece of, it used to be a ranch and a community, and then subdivision because there is some progress. If you traced back, you will find that, if you went to lands office, you'll enter an office and be told, hii shamba unajua inakatakatwa iko sawa. How can you come and say, I did my due diligence, but the system was rigged against me?
Let's go into the psychology of the Kenyan. The psychology of the Kenyan is such that when you're buying a piece of land, first of all, in yourself, you're made to think that the competition is very high.
It's a deal.
So you don't even want your neighbors to know that So due diligence might even be that you are supposed, and actually we advise that whenever you're buying a piece of land, after making sure that you have seen that the documentation is okay, the government or with the government at or whatever level, you should also visit the land, see it physically, and talk to the neighbors, talk to the people around. They are the ones who will tell you, oh, by the way, this land was actually sold to someone else. They are the same people. I've had cases myself, friends of mine, who were showed land, let's say, near the road, and said, this is what we're selling. And they went and bought it. Only later on to find out, after they've put up their houses, that actually they put up their house on the wrong piece of land. That their piece of land was actually 10 kilometers in.
What?
Yes.
Touching tarmac.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay. And often it is at the time that you have applied for a power connection or something. That's when the hard reality hits you. Oh my God, what do I do now? You know?
Okay. So maybe we're taking that question, what do you do? Okay. So here you are, because there's still, again, highly emotive issue, and people see this as the thing. If you own a piece of land, then okay, at least you've made it, right?
Yeah.
You've got something that you can hold on to. And we're not even talking about ancestral land here, that purchase of a little piece that you will build on for commercial or, domestic value, use. Now, what do you do? Somebody's selling you the plot, right? To whom do you go to ensure that, number one, the process is clean and that what you're purchasing is actually correct, and that it is not 20 kilometers in and you've been sold this thing that doesn't belong to you?
I think we are always advised from the word go to use an advocate, because at that point then he takes up part of what I would call the liability for the process, and ensuring that you follow through all the processes, go get your documentation right, and even get to the deeper of these issues with the green card and all that. But I think from where we sit, and even not talking about specific issues or cases, for us that's where we are coming in trying to create this kind of awareness around what needs to be done. If you're doing or you are pushing for such kind of process, or you want to acquire land, then these are the processes that you need as someone who is selling, because mostly it's those who are selling and buying that find themselves. But mostly it's there's a high probability that Eric might not be duped. But there is a high possibility that those people within the community who are not exposed as much, who are not able to maybe get the services of an advocate, will fall for that deal. And that is why we try to create this kind of awareness around their rights, how they are supposed to go around some of these processes, and also trying to connect them and having champions within the community who are able to talk about land rights, some of the issues that they are expected, or some of the issues, corruption issues that they are likely to come across.
Yeah.
So that means you are more aware when you are going to approach such an issue, or you are going to buy land or even sell land. And even as a community, you become more united when it comes to whatever is needed within the community, the land that is within the community, because we have even seen community land meant for public utilities, like even schools, like even school playing grounds, health facilities, people taking advantage of that and selling to people without knowing. But if this is an initiative that is owned by the community and people within the community, we have champions. If Jenga is within Kamudu and he's talking about land, there's a high possibility that within that area, he is likely to know this land is being sold, this land has an issue, so he will raise it up with whoever it is, whether the one who is selling or anyone coming in to buy. So that is the kind of approach, and also trying to bring in maybe the government agencies and people, the duty bearers, to highlight some of these issues that have been there. I think we are very keen to document these issues that are coming up and bringing people on the table, both the citizens or people within the community and also people within the Ministry of Lands and the National Land Commission to have a conversation around, because you see, like the issue within Kamudu is deep rooted. It just didn't start yesterday.
Yeah.
So they need to, and that was the idea for that the Justice and Reconciliation team had, that we are able to try and trace back some of these challenges and solve them from there, not just solving his company, because his company is on the ground, just dealing with the company. Let's get to the root cause,
the root of
the
the
titling, the allotment. Let's start from there, come all the way now to he can still have his company, do the right thing and sell the right parts of that, and people benefit from it.
But you know, there's this let me call it a misconception.
Yeah.
That it's people who are not very well informed who get duped. That is not actually true.
It's the other way around many times.
Yes. We just not very recently, there's land in this same area where you have this huge cement company that has all manner of land around it. Yes. People, affluent people bought land and built some massive mansions, and suddenly there are issues. Now, you cannot say that those are people who didn't have their lawyers who went
They
and
did.
built. Yes.
Same with Chokimau land here, Kenya
Yes.
Airports Authority.
Yes.
And
Got demolished.
it's the same. I mean, if you trace back, you'll find that due diligence was done to some level.
Yeah.
Right? There's a criminal enterprise that is very well oiled. Even when we talk about, let's establish the National Land Commission, let's have digitization of our lands registry, everything still leaves some gaps. Kenya now is a 50 by 100
Nation.
country.
Yes.
Wherever you go to Lamu, go to Witu, you'll find a 50 by 100 being sold. Go to Peketoni, you'll
just
find.
choose.
Go to Londiani, you'll find
to
50
Mandera.
by 100 being sold.
Yeah.
And all these 50 by 100s, are there laws that, manage and govern demarcation of land? Can you find 50 by 100 everywhere? I mean, this is agricultural land, community land, and then it has suddenly become small commercial plots. Are there things that, should be red flags? If you're being sold a 50 by 100 in such an area, that red flag number one, are there such things that you tell people, these are the red flags to watch out for?
Yes, but people will not listen.
You mentioned the psychology of Kenyans.
Yes.
And your answer gets to the heart of it. The psychology.
Yes.
Why won't they listen?
Yeah, people will not listen. There's something in us. Impunity. You see, we come from, at a certain point, we came into a society where values went down. And what I mean by this impunity is, when you go to those plots, the ones that you're mentioning, you are told, take it and build very quickly. Because it was said that as long as you have put up a house, now you cannot be pushed out. It's only the reality now creeping back now that the courts, when the court says you're on somebody's land, it can now be. But before that, if you had power, or you had power come behind you, what? To hell with the courts.
Yep.
Or you could simply just say, well, never mind about the judgment, I'll take care of it. Okay? But again, when you come recently, there was I think there was this case that was determined in Mombasa, the one that had to do with land belonged to a former president. And you heard what the judge said, that you go right back to the documentation, right at the beginning, from the green card. And if there was a problem there, then your title
is invalid.
It's invalid. And I think we need this kind of judgments.
Sorry, I have to ask. Who knows that the original allotment is the one legitimate document? These land buying companies, do they know?
Many of them have people who know.
Who know?
Yes.
So, before we even speak futurely, the hundreds of thousands of people in this country who have bought your 50 by 100 with the certificate from wherever, what happens to them moving forward to secure your investment or to secure where your little house is. What happens to them? How can they be helped today?
You don't do.
Okay.
How does TI come in?
Yeah.
Because now you're running the land program.
Yes.
Are you looking to address some of these issues and helping people go along?
I think for us, it's trying to create first for the specific case. I think it's going back to the green card that my colleague has alluded to at the ministry, because that is where it starts. But generally, I think it's because we also realize it's like systematic in a way, especially with specific areas. You hear of Syokimau. There are areas that have prevalence of these issues, and that is why we are talking of bringing on board the land administrators and people within the community, or even those who are championing for these issues, to raise them up and seek for be on the table and look for solution right from the start. That is one of the things that we are trying to do, and also encouraging people to raise this issue with us through different platforms. Speaking up, we have like a toll-free number that we usually have. People can report corruption issues through the number. So you're able to raise this issue up, we document them, and when we're having this conversation, then we're able to raise these things up with the ministry officials, the representative from the National Land Commission, and tell them this is the specific issue that has been raised, as opposed to having a blanket or a broad issue that we are talking about, but giving a specific issue, and then they can get into the nitty-gritties of the whole
of what has been done. I think transparency, you've started a very good program, and it's important that you keep doing this and creating awareness, and let us all know that this is what to look out for when you're exercising your greed of purchasing land. Touching the river,
the mentality we have.
Tarmac. But thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us today.
Asante
sana. Samuel Komo is a project officer with Transparency International Kenya. Anthony Njenga is a civic educator and a paralegal. Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversations. See you again tomorrow, Friday, 10 a.m.